AV's live on her side. We're not doing the co-host thing. We're doing something different tonight. How are you guys doing? It's AV to the seventh power. Welcome back to my channel, where we talk about all things law, true crime, and a little bit of debauchery. Tonight, I am joining me in a little bit, but I need to catch you guys up on this Super Tuesday. How are you guys doing on this Super Tuesday? What state are you in? And even if your state is not involved in Tuesday, let me know where you're calling in from. Let me know where you are in the chat. I don't lock people out over here just yet because I'm tiny, but eventually that might happen. We have a lot of Trump shenanigans to get involved in when it comes to the Fani Willis case. Terrence Bradley. Tonight, I am joined by one of my favorite people. He'll be joining us in a few minutes, but that is fellow law tuber Nick Rekieta. He's a riot. I loved meeting him. He is amazing. I cannot wait to get this started. But all of you guys have been super interested in this case. And tonight we're joining you on this Super Tuesday to see we are landing, number one, but we're also going to go into something that Lead and I started, and that was looking at the text between Ashley Merchant and one Terrence Bradley. Where Terrence Bradley, I mean, the plot thickens. He started sharing a lot of information that was not okay. It was not okay. So you're in for a quick doozy tonight, guys. But I mean, what do we want to do? The first thing, it's Tuesday. It's Tuesday. Whether you're on the East Coast or the West Coast, I think we need to look at election results. So we're going to go to the Google, and we're going to look at where we are. Hopefully your girl can figure out how to zoom in. I think it's like Control-Shift+. Shout out to YouTubers that don't know what they're doing. Anywho, a few states have come in already. It looks like Trump is leading with 393 delegates so far, and he needs 1,215 needed to win the nomination. This is as of 10:16 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. He has 393 delegates. Nikki Haley has 47, Ron DeSantis 9, and Vivek has 3. So we'll see what happens throughout the night, right? A lot of you guys are pumped for Super Tuesday. If you don't know me, I'm from Massachusetts originally. I'm now in Georgia right now. I went to law school in Massachusetts. So it's a very liberal state. But I'm interested to see how things will end up there, especially when it comes to Super Tuesday. It is a big, big game changer for the party. So we will see where we end up. Firstly, let's see who we have in the chat, and then I will bring you guys up to speed by giving you, of course, a briefing on where we are with Terrence Bradley, where we are with the whole Fani debacle, where we are with the judge ruling on this opinion, and where we are ultimately in this particular case. And yeah, we chill over here. I'm in a hoodie. I mean, Lead and I, like, we streamed 2 times yesterday. I'm tired as hell. So if you guys could get my likes up, that would be fantastic. Give me a like just for staying up and working this hard. That would be fantastic. Who is the first person that we have in the chat, guys? Do you guys remember Jay, the dude that would send me dollar cash apps on Lead side? He is the first person that showed up in the chat with eyes. He's like, oh my God, you're live. Butterfly Jones is like, oh my God, you're live. We see the eyes. Chet is like, oh, you're live. Chet, is that Biden in the picture? Is it Chet? What is that picture? Shout out to Kat. A smaller law tuber that's doing her thing. Kat and I recently did a collaboration on the Jonathan Majors debacle. She came up with me, I think it was 2 live streams ago, and we actually took a deep dive into those court documents, and Kat has been doing some tremendous work on that particular case. She was actually one of the only people that I saw crowdsource, kind of getting the legal documents and paying for it. The crowd paid for that. And Kat went through each of them piece by piece. So she means a lot to me here on my tiny channel, but I like to shout out people that are doing great work. So shout out to Kat. Audrey says, looking forward to this. Me too. Me too. I'm looking forward to having the Nick Rekieta over here on this side. It's going to be a lot of fun. Last time Nick and I collabed, Audrey, you're going to love this. It was when the Diddy case first came out. And what I mean by that is, and Lead and I did this on his side yesterday, it was not like the Cassie complaint. We read the Cassie complaint, and the only thing that was similar was the fact that there was a strange freaking disclaimer on the top of that complaint that you don't see in legal documents usually. Usually it's like plaintiff v. defendant. Sometimes you'll have multiple parties, like these plaintiffs versus these defendants. You see that. That's a regular legal document. When you start seeing legal documents that say, warning, what you're going to read is going to disturb you. The plot is going to thicken. You may not like it, and Diddy's going to fold tomorrow. That's what happens. And that's exactly what happened in the Diddy and Cassie complaint. I did it with Lead, and we talked about freak offs and Astroglide and all types of lube. I mean, I could not believe that was an illegal document. It ended up there, and we needed to read it to you guys for public awareness. Who knew? Who knew? Who knew J-Lo was running around with guns in her purse? And who knew that poor little Cassie, 19 at the time, dealing with this guy that was a lot older than her? Who knew that poor little Cassie was going through these shenanigans? Looking at her, I love that song. What was it? It's me and you now. I've been waiting for you to make a move now. Something like that, right? You guys remember that song. It was super popular. It was a thing. So Cassie had this like career. Little did we know Diddy was behind the scenes doing some shenanigans. So the last time that Nick and I came together was to read that complaint. It ended in us reading it and using Bob Mannery like sports announcer voices. I mean, I'm from Boston. I love Boston. I don't know what to tell you guys. If I see a content creator from Boston doing well, I mean, I'm gonna salute them. Bob Mannery is one of those guys that was on the Full Send podcast, and shout out to the Full Send podcast. They were one of the first podcasts that actually had Trump on there, and Dana White and a few other people. And I was like, wow, these guys are doing it. From Massachusetts, just the lone state up there that everybody thinks is liberal and is cold. So everybody thinks we're mean. You'll never meet another Cape Verdean in your life unless you come to my YouTube channel and you're like, where are you from? I'm like, I'm from Cape Verde. And they're like, where? And then, this is the sound when I bust out the map, but it's kind of like, I bust out the map and I'm like, where's Cape Verde? It's on the west coast of Africa. What is that? It's like 500,000 people that live there, west coast of Africa. But 3 million live here in the US. For some reason, the migration paths only went to Massachusetts and to Florida, a little bit of Cali. I don't know why. But honestly, guys, like, you'll probably never meet another Cape Verdean in your life. And you're gonna be like, AV, what is that? What's your nationality? These are a set of islands on the west coast of Africa. The Portuguese went there in the 1600s on their way. And this is dark. This is going to get dark, but everybody, it's all love here. And shout out to Brother Love. It's all love here. Slave trade kind of went through there. It was uninhabited. These 10 islands were uninhabited. But what happened, ironically, was the Portuguese people were like, okay, we're going to set up shop here. There's nobody here. Okay, we're going to look. Does anybody live on these islands? And they realized the islands were uninhabited. So they're like, okay, We're going to bring some Africans here. And unfortunately, it's kind of rough, but that's where some of the slave trade started, to bring people here to the colonies in the 1600s. Not trying to go there, but everybody's like, hey, what does Cape Verde mean? And I'm like, should I go the dark route? Depending on if I like the person, or do I actually just say, hey, it's actually this pretty unique African Lusophone culture that's pretty cool. And you won't really meet people outside of New England or Florida or California with this, weird mixed race. I don't know. Anywho, are you guys ready to talk about Ashley? Lead and I have talked about this for days. I'm going to be honest, I'm tired. I'm so tired. But I'm going to go back to the chat. Shout out to Ron, who says, let's go. He says, I hope she doesn't run on TLA time. If I'm late, I'm not like excessively late. You know what I mean? Like, I'm not like super crazy late. Hey, McKinley, attorney from Dallas. Good to see you. JC says, hey, boo. Oh, is that where you are? California, Colorado. That's where we send the dollars from. Kayleen, hi. She's from Florida. Star is checking in from North Carolina. I am down. It says, hey, Miss AV from Georgia. I am here now. We'll see where I land after this. Rich says Iowa. Ron is from California. JT Coin Rings. Look at that. The first super of the night. He says, hello, AV and the chat. And Maryland. He's checking in from Maryland. Guys, JT Coin Rings is an actual coin collector. I don't think I've ever met one of these type of, this is going to sound bad, any of these people that have this profession ever. He's a coin collector. He does it on YouTube. Where would you do that? Where would you do that? Where would you meet folks that do this thing? It's insane. It's insane. But listen, guys, I am so excited to see someone, and I can't believe he's doing this collab with me tonight because he is freaking sick. I've been looking at him and I'm like, dude, go to bed. Why are you on the internet? Why? Why are you on the internet, Nick Ricada? What are you doing?
I'm on your show. That's what I'm doing.
Shit.
How's it going?
I don't swear on my side, but I'm so happy to see you. How are you?
Terrible, but also fine. Look, I got the flu last week, Monday.
Oh my God.
And I woke up with a temp. Now everybody's like asserting that this is not true. I'm willing to account for equipment failure being the most likely explanation, but I woke up to a temp of, I'm not joking, 107.
I heard, and people were like, we are concerned. 107 is not okay.
Yeah, believe me, I could tell. I was like sitting there dying. And then so we had 3 thermometers. One of them was the temporal one, which does like the infrared thing, like right here, the little dot. And then the other one was one that you like scan across this artery here. And that one said 106. And then we had an in-ear one, and it was like 103.7.
Oh my God.
Probably not quite to that, like you're actually dying temp, but I don't know which one was right. It was between those though. And so it was kind of scary. But then it's just been this lingering stupid sickness. My fever broke on Tuesday night, Wednesday morning, and now it's just like this cough and congestion. Makes you want to like.
You guys better goddamn put Nick in the chat. You need to type in Nick in the chat right now. He just had a fever of 107 a week ago. Are you serious?
It was nuts, man. I was not happy. Oh, excuse me.
And he's coughing. Like
I'm gonna try and mute my mic when I cough.
That's
and keep
totally
it down to
fine.
But yeah, other than that though, like just being sick and having it just keep being there. Like I'm healthy. I'm not contagious at this point, but it's like just draining. And so other than that though, things are pretty good. You know, life is ticking away and moving onward and upward. So
that's good.
Yeah. How about you? It's been forever since we've actually gotten to like
God. I think we haven't been on camera together since November. And I was just telling them that the last time we got together, we were covering this crazy Diddy and Cassie thing. Guess what? They're back in the news.
Yeah, I heard. I was like, have you seen the Diddy text? It's like the craziest thing ever. And I was like, no, I'm dying. I've been dying in a bed.
Yeah. You've must have been wanting to like get on screen and cover this stuff, but health is important. So like guys, if you guys can do me a favor and just put like a little prayer emoji in the chat and say, get well, Nick.
Oh, thank
you. If you guys can do that, that would be fantastic. He does not have to be there. And I'm like super like surprised you still wanted to do this collab. I was like, dude, go to bed. He's like, we can do it like an hour. I was like, for real?
Well, I've been wanting to like collab with you and a couple other people recently because I haven't been doing much. My schedule got so crazy. We had some personal life changes, which aren't like bad or anything, but they changed how we built our schedule. And so now I've been scrambling to find any time. I've been canceling shows and running shows late, and everybody's mad. And I'm like, I'm really sorry. Like, I'm trying to get this thing under wraps and get a predictable schedule, but it's like as annoying for me as everybody else.
You've been going hard. Like, there were times where I was looking at you, like you're going like 5 days a freaking week.
Yeah.
Late at night. There would be times where I would watch you at 10 p.m. I would wake up at 6 a.m. and you were still freaking live. I'm like, how?
Yeah, that was it's not the best for your like health, but you know, it's sometimes you work like that. And then other times you work like I've been working lately, which is barely, but like really trying to like get things moving. But enough about that nonsense. I've been whining about it too much. I bought a special whiskey for today.
Ooh, you bought whiskey. What'd you bring?
This is called Brother Justice. And so it's not spelled like justice, but I buy anything that has any sort of like legally adjacent excuse to buy. So Brother Justice it is.
I love it.
For us on this law stream about some people who may be flaunting the notions of justice.
Oh, yeah. Let me call myself the truth seeker. Okay. You are the chief of tomfoolery and I am the truth seeker. Actually, let me call myself the truth seeker of shenanigans.
Oh, yeah.
I think that is super appropriate. And I was just telling them before you joined, one of my favorite things about our last collab was the Bob Mannery reference towards the end. I love the sports announcer voice. And we crushed that. We were literally like doing the stream in a sports announcer voice for a little bit, and it was amazing. And the only reason why I found Bob Mannery was because he had like at some point, I don't know, on the Full Send podcast, those guys bought Trump in. I don't even know why he did it because these are like young dudes and like trucker hats and just chilling in their 20s and 30s. And they're like, hey, man, like, what do you think about New England? Bob asked him, what do you think about New England? And Trump was like, yeah, it's cults. A lot of our money goes up there to eat people. And it's like, okay, northern states, what do we think about that? What do we think about that? But it was a ton of fun. And I loved collabing with you on the Diddy thing, but the sports announcer portion was my favorite part.
Yeah, and we need to get back to it and talk about the new updates if you'd be willing, because I gotta get caught up. It's I've heard it's just salacious. And what is with like what's going on right now? So I watched I read the Vince McMahon complaint. That was great.
Yes.
The Diddy complaint or the Diddy scandal, whatever it is, is it another, like, is it just more of that previous lawsuit or is it another lawsuit or is it just a report or an accusation? Like what's going on with that?
So let's bring you up to speed. Welcome back to America on Super Tuesday. Here's what you've missed. Yes, Vince McMahon is amassed in a lawsuit. We also have another lawsuit involving Diddy, but this time the accuser is not a woman. It is a man.
That's what I heard.
Right? So we had that. Lead and I couldn't even get through the whole thing. We couldn't even get through the whole thing. He did. I had to dip out for a meeting. I came back. I came back at the 3-hour mark, and lately he's been pulling 5-6 hours. I came back at 3 hours. He was done. He's like, I can't read this anymore. It was so bad.
I miss him. I miss him so much.
He misses you too. Trust me. Bros for life. Bros for life. So the thing is like with the Diddy lawsuit, we are not at, like, Cassie was kind of like the first person that filed a lawsuit. We are now at like the 5th or 6th plaintiff. So that's some bullshit. But where we are today is this Trump and Fani thing.
Oh my gosh, yeah.
Dude.
It is.
The Trump and Fani thing is everywhere.
Yeah, it's wild. I was so mad because I missed the hearings. I had some conflicts, and then of course the sickness. So I missed most of the hearings and stuff, but like I didn't expect it to be so overt. Like you always wonder, these people, you're ostensibly bright enough to become a county attorney. Like you're elected, you're in this pretty high level, especially in a county like Fulton County. Like this isn't, my county is 50,000 people, right? Fulton County's got to have a couple million people in it, right? Like it's a big place, I would imagine.
Yeah.
And so you're in this big county, tons of different activity, like on the civil side, on the business side, you've got a very intricate court system. And yet you're going to pull this bullshit out of nowhere. And not only are you going to do it, you're going to do it while attempting to prosecute the former president of the United States, who is the leading Republican candidate. And by some polls, like the leading presidential candidate of 2024, you're going to try and prosecute that guy for interference with an election in one of the most controversial counties about election interference in the country. And you're going to have this shit going on behind the scenes. Like, what are you thinking?
Yeah. And I'll bring you up to speed, Nick, because it gets deep. It's pretty bad. Here's what happens. You have Fani Willis and Nathan Wade. And what they do, right? They were, I'm not going to say it in the words of the lead attorney, but they were like,
clapping cheeks.
Yeah. The cheeks were clapping here in Fulton County. I'm here in Atlanta. This was, it was happening in the back rooms of law firms. It was going down.
I mean, right? Where else would you do it though? Like if you're going to go for it, I do have to give them a little bit of props. Like go for it.
Yeah. But here's the worst part is like all of these proceedings, when they're like trying to disqualify Ashley Merchant, who is the blonde woman, who represented one of the defendants, because there's a ton of defendants. In this case, there's probably about 6, 7, 8 of them. Rudy Giuliani. I don't even know who his attorney is, but like,
I don't think he does either.
Rudy, Rudy's like, oh, where are we?
Rudy's like, I don't know. I don't know who my attorney is anymore, but I hope she's 24.
Yeah, and he's like sweating, and then the dye is coming off of the side, but like, but Rudy's a part of the defendants. What Trump's attorney did, he is so skilled. I like to call him Boots. He's so skilled because, Nick, when you were going to trial, would you ever wear suede cowboy boots to court? Under your, like a full suit and a suede cowboy boots.
You got to be an existing legend. Like you have to have, when you walk into any courtroom, every judge has to know you and be like, hey, what's up, man? Like you have to feel like a prosecutor. That's what you have to feel like when you walk into the room. So that's the only way though. I would never do that because, like every judge hates me because I don't respect them.
Oh my God. said from a veteran attorney over here. Listen, I mean, at the end of the day, this is why we love having these conversations on YouTube. Yeah, and it is so crazy. Like today, I got a text, or not even a DM, from somebody at a news network that was like, hey, do you want to come on and talk about this? I was like, me? What? Me? Like it happens. But
they look for where the coverage is good and who's crushing it. And like, it's not just that, but they look for who is resonating. Because you can have a lot of numbers. Like Law and Crime can do crazy numbers on some of these things, but their commentators suck. Like, no offense to them. I'm not picking on any of you guys individually, except all of you. But it's like their commentators, they're not doing what we're doing with, well, I say what you guys have all been doing, and I want to get back to doing with the live commentary.
Well, not even that. You did it with Amber Heard and Johnny Depp. Like,
yeah, it's just been creating
a space and shit, I'm going to drink with you, man. Got
Heck
a little
yeah.
bit of champagne here.
Love it.
It's Super Tuesday. We're going to talk about it. But it's one of those things where it's just like, hey, like to be able to create a space to have these conversations with people, we really don't have that. And that's why I think so many people are looking for it. Because it's just like, hey, where do I go where I can talk about things freely and not like you get chastised, like, oh, you're a MAGA supporter, you're this, you're that. And it's just like, shit, can we just talk about what happened? Because what happened with Fani and Nathan Wade is fucked up.
So cool. I wish it were me, like doing it, because it's funny. But like again, the thing that surprises me most is not that any of this, and this is maybe what people need to understand about their situation, is outside of the context of this type of case with this particular relationship between Fani Willis, Donald Trump, and Nathan Wade, and then Nathan Wade and Fani Willis. Like outside of that, everything they're doing would be fine. Like they can do all, well, almost. The fact that he's a special prosecutor, she seems to have violated the statutes on hiring him. And one of the real ethical concerns is that regardless of whether she violated the statute or not, I don't like to say that people definitely did, because that could result in criminal charges or some very serious civil charges. And without proof, I like to keep it ambiguous as possible. But regardless of whether or not she violated the statute, she is stamping the approval on his billing. And then he is pretty clearly using that money to then pay for things for her, which means she is rubber stamping taxpayer money to herself. And that is, without, like, even absent the context of this case, that's unacceptable behavior for a government employee for obvious reasons.
Yeah. Where did the money come from? Because at the end of the day, they had a relationship before this guy got hired. He got hired in November of 2021. Right.
Yeah.
And everyone was asking them. And I talked about Boots, because Boots in particular is Trump's lawyer. And he's like, when did this relationship start? It started in November of 2021 is what they said on. That's when he got hired. Yeah. And that's when he filed for divorce, is the very next day.
So just perfectly timed. Like,
and then they lied on this stand, because guess what we found last week? Cell phone records that shows that he was going to her house. He said, you know, Boots asked him, hey, how many times had you gone to her home? He said less than 10 times. Cell phone records showed more than 35.
Now, I'm going to try and do this as much as possible because I think it's funny, but also useful.
Yeah.
This is really the trip up of depositions and cross-examination, right?
Yeah.
Because if someone has asked you how many times in the past 4 months you've gone to your best friend's house, your parents' house, whatever, and you're just like, oh, well, now you should be prepared for this question. Like, you should know it's coming, especially in this context. But hypothetically, someone just asked you, how many times have you been to X place that you go to frequently or like semi-regularly, but not every day? That's a hard question to answer. Now, roll it back to 2021 and say, how many times did you go there before this date on 2021? Like, I don't know, like 10? Like, what if I told you it was 38? You're like, oh shit, that's a lot more than I thought. But
yeah,
those days start to blend, especially you get a couple years removed. So I'm not like running apologetics for Nathan Wade, but that's a really hard question to answer, especially if they start a relationship where he does end up going to her house all the time. Like, when did that switch happen?
Well,
but it doesn't matter because you're under oath on the stand and you should know this question. You should get your damn planner out and figure out when the fuck you were there.
They're fucking lying. And here's the worst part. Here is the worst part. And I know your people are probably like, oh, she uses props and the plot thickens sounds, whatever the fuck. Here's the thing, right?
Yeah.
The plot thickens because it's not just 38 times that we're talking about.
Right.
These people had 2,000 phone calls in 10 months and over 10,000 text interactions. What are you talking about? What are you talking about on the phone? Married couples don't even talk that much.
Oh God, if married couples talk that much, they'd be divorced immediately.
What are you talking about?
2,000 phone calls?
2,000 freaking phone calls, dude.
What was the time frame for 2,000 phone calls?
January to November.
Holy shit. Okay, so that's 10 months. That's 200 phone calls a month. That averages out to what, like fucking, oh my gosh, my math is bad. 7 a day, 7 phone calls a day on average.
12, it came out to 12,000 text messages. They reduced it down to 9 because they bucketed it into text interactions. You know how like somebody sends you a text and you'll like heart it or something. I don't know. Shout out to those Android people that have the green bubbles. I don't know what's wrong with you. But if you have an iPhone, typically you can hit a heart or a thumbs up or a ha ha ha. There are interactions. And they minimize that number because the other thing that is also included is audio messages. And shout out to locals because I know it gets lit back there, Nick. Last time I went back there, you were like, "Welcome to hell." I was like, "God damn!"
It's great. Locals is hilarious. But yeah, this notion. So you got 7 phone calls a day on average every day for 10 months. That's unreal. Like I can't even imagine who does that many phone calls a day. I remember when before cell phones in the land of like when I grew up with landlines and your parents would get you that extra. Well, I didn't have a pager. I didn't, but I had a landline to my room because I had to have my own internet eventually. And you had to do the little or whatever, like the modem thing. But you know, like you'd call all the time to people because there was no other way to talk. Like you didn't want to talk on AOL Messenger too much. That's weird. So you call people all the time, but 7 phone calls a day, 7 phone calls to anybody a day makes me want to eat a bullet. Like I can't even imagine being on the phone that much now. And so you're thinking like, how into each other are they? And I can't, I'm going to be mean here. Fani Willis is hideous.
Oh,
she's hideous. So like Nathan Wade isn't the handsomest guy, but he's handsomer than her, I think. But still, like, how are these two into each other like that? Like, it's not like some 15-year-old kid got approached by like a supermodel internet girlfriend or whatever, and they call all the time. Like, these are 2 professionals who are not like spry young swimsuit models or anything.
They're not spring chickens.
No, they're not spring turkeys or vultures or anything. They're spring like albatrosses that are rotting to death.
What do you call like aged meat?
Me.
With that being said, I think it's a perfect super chat break. I'm just gonna read a few of them, guys, and then I really want to look at some of these Terrence Bradley text messages that we have not had a chance to cover because Fani Willis's ethics hearing is this Thursday here in Atlanta, and tomorrow Ashley Merchant is going to show up in front of the Senate committee. And talk about these freaking text messages that we're about to show you. So shout out to Nick for being sick and still being here. I appreciate you, brother.
My pleasure. My pleasure.
Yeah. So I did catch JT coin rings. Shout out to JC. He sends me dollar super chats and then Cash Apps. And then here's the best part, guys. When I deposit them in Cash App, it takes 60 cents away. So this guy gives me 40 cents. I love you, Jay. Thank you so much.
Wait. I got to say one thing. He just also chatted. No more whiskey for him. Fani was snatched and looking like a whole snack Friday in court. JC, my brother, I'm going to need to 5150 you. You got to go. I'm sorry, man. You need
Jay, help. What are you doing?
Like, look, don't do that to yourself. Don't do that to Fani Willis. Don't lie to women like that, brother. Don't do that. It's rude. That's rude.
If you guys can put Jay, I'm so sorry. If you guys can type in 60 cents in the chat, that would mean a lot to me. Oh my God, I'm being mean on my channel for the first time. Shout out to Savvy Fats. Savvy Fats. He says, get them likes up. That's right. Lead on his side. When people are in the chat and there's a ton of people, we will lock people up. And meaning that we will make it members only. I'm not doing that because I'm a tiny YouTuber. But if we're not playing with you, it will be a members only thing. Nick, you know what that is. That's locking you outside.
Yep. Yep.
That's saying go to locals. Go to
Yep.
Nick's locals. Otherwise, you cannot participate.
It's the best way to do it. It's the best way to do it.
Shout out to Legally Live, who became a YouTube member. Thank you so much. Shout out to Randall with look at the 199. Okay. Shout out to the brothers, the Strong Brothers in the chat. The Little Gaming Channel with $50. He says, wow, I can't believe I caught a live. I don't get notifications. What I've learned, guys, is sometimes you need to unsubscribe and resubscribe. I don't know why YouTube does that. And maybe it's because I've went down the conservative route and they're like, well, lady, you're talking about this stuff. We don't want people to see it. So unsubscribe, resubscribe, and your notifications will be back on. He says,
and also, you got to make sure that your YouTube notifications are enabled generally on your phone as well. Because a lot of people will, they're like, I clicked the bell, send me the notification. But you have to also go in and make sure that your YouTube push notifications on your devices are working too. It's like this complicated multi-step process. Every time I talk to my YouTube person about it, they're like, oh, you got to go do this and this and this. I'm like, you realize how stupid this is, right? Just, they subscribe to someone, just send them a notification. Don't even ask.
That's it.
Why would you ask? Just beg forgiveness.
Yeah. And like Law Pope over here, you've had some spats with YouTube.
Couple.
Yeah.
But I always win, so it's okay.
Okay. There we go. No, we know you win because you're still on the you're still doing your thing on the platform.
Somehow.
There's so many people that got just demonetized. So it's good to see you're here. But Little Gaming Channel, that is fantastic. Thank you so much. If you guys can do me a favor and type in TLGC in the chat. He's a huge supporter of me and Lead while we've been doing this series on Trump and Fani. The Little Gaming Channel has sponsored nearly every single streamer. So please go ahead and type that into the chat. That would be fantastic. Little Gaming Channel also became a member. We're doing our thing over here. Thank you so much. Daenerys says, how does Terrence Bradley think he can claim attorney-client privilege after those texts were released? Well, Nick, I want you to keep this in mind. And I think it might be one of the perfect cues to go into this. I just want to catch any other big ones that I see. I see one other big one, and then we'll go into the text because attorney-client privilege is big. The reason why I'm going to say that, and shout out to Denora for sending this super. Thank you so much for the $5. Terrence was Wade's best friend.
Right.
He was Wade's best friend. And he was also his law partner, Nick.
Yeah.
And
I didn't know that, but I gathered it. I read the text that you sent me and I gathered, I was like, okay, this guy's close. He's from a law firm, but he's no longer there. And then as I got like, this guy was really close. Really close.
Best friend, known him for years. Knew that the relationship had started between Nathan Wade and Fani Willis, right? And knew when it started. So the Trump attorneys are just like, dude, we know you're lying. We know that you know when it started. But here's the best part. I said November 1st is when Nathan was hired. November 2nd is when he filed for divorce.
Right.
And this guy that is on the respondent part of the text messages or responding to this other lawyer, he's a former law partner, but also represented Nathan in the divorce.
Ooh.
So he knew everything. And that's why this super chat is so important, because it's kind of like, dude, if you were representing your law partner in a divorce, you were under attorney-client privilege. And you got on the stand and you were telling these people. At first, he said, I don't recall. I don't remember anything. Right? Yeah. But at the end of the day, you knew everything because you were representing the divorce. The partnership got dissolved, Nick. You want to know why? This guy got honky-dory in the law firm. He's married, but started looking at clients and paralegals.
Ooh.
And people in the law firm, and they had to let him go.
So Bradley did.
Yeah. And here's the best part. Last week, they bought all of those women and put them in the front row.
Oh, it's like that scene in Goodfellas and they bring in that guy's uncle. Just sitting there, just like, you know what? I don't remember nothing. I don't remember nothing. I don't know what you're talking about.
That's exactly what he said. He shut the fuck up. And here's the best part. These text messages got leaked the day after. So we've been waiting for you, Law Pope, to come back.
Yeah. So attorney-client privilege is weird.
Yeah.
First of all, no privilege is unpierceable. Right? The privilege is always held by the client. So if he's Wade's attorney in the divorce, obviously Wade gets to assert privilege over anything he might testify to. He gets to object to the general testimony if it might stray into privilege. But it's Wade's duty to do that. And that does, it's not supposed to, but that does carry an implication, right? If you're before a judge, which family law is before a judge, it's not supposed to carry any weight to assert privilege. Like, hey, this is attorney-client privilege. You can't go here. But Wade has a little bit of a different problem. He and Fani Willis are in the public eye. And so if he asserts that privilege, you know, there are consequences there. Now, second, though, about privilege is you do not have privilege for conspiratorial unlawful activity. Now, the question would be, as Bradley, and you don't have to be charged with this. It's not a criminal act doesn't have to be, or a criminal charge doesn't have to come here. There doesn't have to be an investigation or anything. But if Bradley is, you know, advising Wade about this relationship, and he knows about some of the unlawful statutory schemes that are going on, or if he knows about the, you know, the very questionably ethical payments, he might not actually have privilege there, because if he's advising him in the course of doing those things, he could be an accessory rather than just an attorney. It gets really sketchy. But here's the real question is, was Wade asking him for any advice around these things? Because if he just starts a relationship with Fani Willis and is not asking for actual legal advice about that relationship within the context of his pending divorce, then there's no privileged activity. There's no privilege in Terrence Bradley knowing about Wade's behaviors, proclivities, relationships, interests, deeds. Only those things with which you specifically discuss, with an expectation of privacy and with an expectation of privilege with an attorney on the subject that you're discussing, can be protected by privilege. Now, you get a big shield on the outside because people don't get to fish for your through your.
I'm so happy you've been sick, because this has been such a fucking shit show. It's good to catch you up, because all of that is, everything you just said is absolutely correct.
Yeah.
But they discharged him from the law firm while he was representing Nathan, because he wanted to deal with, he's married, he wanted to deal with clients and people that worked at the law firm, and they had to discharge him. But here's the thing, when Fani hired them, it was through an external contract, right? Because she's in the prosecutor's office, and she explained this on the stand, like, hey, we will look for work externally. And she gave the contract to Nathan, who was in a partnership with 2 other partners.
Right.
And Bradley was one of them. So during that contractual agreement, while Nathan was also assigned the special prosecutor role, he was paid $650,000, where the other prosecutors were paid $150,000 a year, and the other was $250,000. So
it's pretty much the same.
Yeah, I mean, it's pretty much the same, just not a large, there's not even a gender pay gap here. It's the same fucking gender. There's a giant gender fucking pay gap right here, right? So like that was there, right? And so like we had that to deal with, but now we have this Bradley situation. But what is worse about this, Nick, is when he got severed from the partnership and the contract ended with Fani, and he was, you know, cut off from the divorce proceedings.
Right.
He's essentially not in the partnership anymore. He started talking to Ashley Merchant. last month, which is what catches us up to this text string that we're about to look at.
Oh gosh, so good. I read through it earlier. It's a good one.
The self-snitching is evident.
Yeah. And I love Ashley Merchant is just like, I can't believe they're like this. I cannot believe they're doing like this just does. Why would they do this? I can't believe this. And that's what you often run into and you see in these cases where this stuff comes forward. The scary thing is knowing that this type of shit happens, to quote Gin and Juice, this type of shit happens all the time. Got to get yours before I get mine. But it really does happen constantly. It's just most people are more careful about this stuff.
Gin and Juice. I love it.
Sorry, I was doing karaoke the other day.
Yeah. Karaoke sick as fuck. Like just gin and juice.
Yeah, well, I did the country version of it though. You can't do this. I can't do the Snoop version. Like he'll show up and do that wildlife commentary on me. But the country version I did, and God, I love that fucking song. Anyway, sorry, we can go on.
Yes, let's go. I don't even want to know what's happening in locals. The last time I was there, you were like, welcome to hell. I was like, God damn. Like, I don't even know what's happening back here.
It's actually calmed down a lot because of personally, I have been my schedule got so like wildly mixed up on everything, and I have had zero free time at all. So I haven't been in locals a ton, and things have kind of really tamed down because apparently I'm like an agent of chaos or something. And we'll see. This year things are about to change pretty dramatically in some fun ways. That might lead to locals becoming a little bit wild again, which I always hope for. I want everybody to be uncomfortable constantly.
Yeah, you got to do it. You got to do it. Okay, let's check this out. Let's look at the actual text messages, because I think this would be fun. And again, happy Super Tuesday to everyone. Let us know where you're checking in from, and where your state is reporting in so far. We have 700 people in the chat, but we are starting. We are starting at the beginning, guys. Ashley Merchant texting Terrence Bradley at the beginning, March 14th, 2023. And here's the other thing, Nick. Someone else came out with an affidavit yesterday saying, hey, Terrence was also in my office talking to Fani on speakerphone, letting us know that there are contradictions with what they said on the stand last week.
Nice. And this is such an interesting first text.
Yeah.
What you know is that some conversation happened before this. Because Ashley Merchant, like, this is not the beginning of any text thread anyone's ever seen. It's like, so the FCDA Open Records is saying that they don't have an original contract for when Nathan began work. First of all, that's a problem. They only have his renewal contract. Is that possible? Well, it's surely possible. It's just unlikely in almost any case you can imagine. But that's not a typical opening text. Like, nobody has that opening text with anyone else. So that's a weird one. And it's the kickoff to this, but that tells you right there that Terrence and Ashley have been talking in some other context somewhere. They have previewed the discussion that we're about to see.
Yeah, I think he was pissed off that he got severed from this partnership, to be honest with you.
Of course.
And you can see it. Like, there's a file attachment. It looks like it's a record center open records request. He responds and says, wow. Ashley says, they stalling big time. He says, yes, they are.
And one thing to just kind of add on to what you're saying with him being annoyed with being severed from the contract is something I've talked about a lot on my show that I don't think people really have taken into full consideration in some areas of the internet and some areas of the media as in regards to Donald Trump prosecutions and Donald Trump civil suits. Okay, look, if you are a county attorney or a district attorney or whatever, you are an elected official who is a politician who typically has a party affiliation and a whole lot riding on what you do. Someone who successfully prosecutes Donald Trump, Fani Willis can successfully prosecute Donald Trump in Fulton County. Fani Willis has a chance to be the governor of Georgia, a senator, a House member. She has a chance to be vice president, like unironically become vice president, to be the attorney general, to be a Supreme Court nominee. Like, these are
a ton of political aspirations.
It's huge. And so likewise, Nathan Wade's a private practicing attorney with a law firm with a couple partners. If he's involved and his partners are involved in this prosecution as special counsel, and they end up being people who, even if they can just make Trump ask hard questions, even if they don't get a conviction, but they ask hard questions, they embarrass him, maybe they impact the election in some way. These people stand to literally make millions of dollars off of what happens here and to advance their careers in ways that were impossible prior to this. They're catapulted into a national spotlight. Nathan Wade becomes the guy who prosecutes an impossible RICO case against a former president. Fani Willis becomes the DA, the county attorney who stopped a former president from stealing an election and preserved democracy for the United States. The narratives you can spin off this are huge. So when you want to understand like why someone like Bradley might be miffed that he's cut out of this contract, his name gets taken off of all of the potential accolades here, whether he likes Trump, dislikes Trump, or whatever. This case has unlimited career advancement potential. If you get cut out of it, I mean, it's like you went in on an office lottery pool, you won $12 billion. And then they said, oh, by the way, your check bounced, so yours doesn't count. Like it's really, really important for these people to have this thing happen. That's why they're involved.
Yeah, 100%. 100%. And that's why it's like, it's interesting because we're watching all of it. Like everybody was looking at it like Fani obviously has some political aspirations here. She's going after something, but at the same time, she's also using RICO charges. This is what the same thing she's charging Young Thug with, and, she did like an educational case a few years ago and same thing, RICO. That's the third time that we've seen that from this particular prosecutor.
And Letitia James is doing the same thing. These RICO cases are going after, she went after the NRA with RICO. She went after the Trump organization with RICO. I hate this guy a lot. Ken White is Pope Hat. He used to be a respectable commentator and then he got Trump derangement syndrome. And it's like, look, I don't care if you like Trump or dislike Trump. It's indifferent. I'm indifferent to anybody's opinion on him. But when you go from like just generally disliking or disagreeing politically with a person to everything they do is the epitome of evil, Ken White lost his fucking mind when Donald Trump took office and he became less respectable. But before he did that, he had this great phrase, it's never RICO. Because it's never RICO.
And now it's all RICO.
Yep.
It's all RICO. Yep. I wish I had the lead attorney's freaking...
He just leads in chat right now. He just dropped you a very tiny, completely non-respectable super chat. Just a second.
Oh my God. He hasn't dropped me a super chat in months. Thank you so much, lead attorney. He says, AV and Nick, the best of the best. Wow. Is he the stream sponsor of his co-host stream? Oh my gosh. But this is, it's really nice to see the lead attorney here, guys. Like I would not be on this platform without him. He means so much to me. And honestly, is one of the reasons why Nick and I met about a year ago. This time we were at your meetup in Vegas, man.
So much fun.
And now you're recovering from a cold and we're trying to get you.
Yeah. I wish I was in Vegas instead.
Right? Drinking in Vegas.
By the way, what's up, lead? You handsome motherfucker. We got to talk very soon, my friend. We got to talk very soon.
We totally do. We totally do it. And I'm happy that we are able to bring everybody together. Lead, thank you so much. $100 is generous. I was joking, of course, but it's good to see you in my chat for a change while Nick and I look at these shenanigans of texts and talk about it from there. Because Nick, this is an interesting perspective. You are just catching up on all of this.
Yeah. Yeah.
You're just catching up. You're licking the top of the bottle.
I always do. Look, so I set my liquor bottles down on the floor next to my chair.
Yeah.
And you don't want like a drip of whiskey going down to the bottom of the bottle and then sitting on carpet. That's disgusting. So you got to just catch that thing before it goes.
The bottom of the bottle can also go into Amber Heard. And you're like, what the fuck?
Hey, look, I got a lot to say about that bottle story. We're gonna keep that. We're going to keep that off of here because like, she's like, I didn't know what was going on. You didn't know what was going on. My God, girl, what have you been doing on the weekends?
What has she been doing? What has she been doing? I mean, how did you get that Anyway, to your point, story for another day.
Exactly.
Back to the text messages. We know he got severed from this partnership, right? We think he's a little upset. And as we go through these text messages, guys, you're going to start to see it. But Terrence Bradley, insane. So Ashley's inquiring. The other thing that I want you guys to realize as we read this is that this started in September. These hearings took place a few weeks ago in February. These text messages went on all the way into January of 2024.
So this is something that people may not get because they always do this. They're like, oh, they perjured on the stand. They're going to go after him. They're going to get perjury. They're not going to get perjury. It's like, oh, they're lying. They're doing this. They're doing that. You don't go after a county attorney and a special prosecutor on a whimsy. Like, oh, I think they might be. No, you better be ready. This is like, not to put too fine of a point on it, but if this were like a show, this is the stuff people get killed over.
Jeez.
You like, I'm not suggesting that Fani Willis and Nathan Wade would have that kind of clout, but if this were a dramatized version of it, literally, yes, there would be very real physical danger. And there may be, I don't know if that there isn't, but we're talking that level of drama, because even if they're not going to kill you, going after someone, suggesting that there's an improper sexual relationship during this level of prosecution, if you're wrong, you may not die, but your career's toast. Like you're going to be laughed out. And especially everybody who represented Trump. Like if you look at the election attorneys and all that, look at them. They're all disgraced. All of them, even if they weren't unreasonable, even if they were the reasonable ones, their careers are in shambles. Their reputations are shattered. They're not even welcome at the water cooler anymore.
Yeah, it's a tough card to pull. Right? Like if you're gonna shoot out the king, you better not miss. You need to make sure that you're ready for it, right? And I think that that's what we're seeing with this, because with this relationship, everyone is questioning the relationship. While we were watching it, I think the average viewer didn't really understand why the attorneys were pulling at that. But now that we do, we're just like, hey, did you have this special relationship? Is this why Nathan Wade, who has never prosecuted a criminal case in his freaking life,
he's going to get one of the most complicated cases?
A former president?
And then the other thing, like when you combine this with the idea that's now going to the Supreme Court, as it has to, with the potential for criminal immunity, it's not just that this is a complicated prosecution in general. The fact that you're going to have the highest level, most specialized constitutional appellate work with a novel question about the second article of the Constitution and the limits of presidential criminal immunity. Huge. Like this is stuff that is easily foreseeable by anyone who's paid attention to presidential authority and Article 2 power and Article 2 jurisprudence. Anyone could have predicted that these questions are coming. But like, not only do you have to predict the questions are coming, you have to be so freaking versed in how the civil immunity has formed, what the actual challenges are. You've got federalism issues, you've got separation of powers issues, you've got general presidential immunity issues, which come from this concept that the president has to be able to act with some level of impunity here in his official duties. Because again, like Trump or hate him, who else other than the president of the United States who's sitting there has the law enforcement authority to question the validity of the national election of the next president? And if it's done carefully and if it's done correct, everyone would want the president to just ask those questions with trusted advisors. They don't like that Trump did it because he's like, no, look, I got votes. I know.
Where's the votes? Where's the fucking votes?
The votes are around. They're around. Maybe Joe lost them. Maybe he forgot they happened, but they happened. I was there. I know the votes occurred.
The votes are in Georgia. They're there. They are there.
But yeah, like this is all predictable. And so to bring in someone who doesn't have, like, he's not a prosecutor. So the RICO case is crazy.
He was a judge and he prosecuted traffic violations.
Yeah, municipal court judge handling misdemeanors, maybe gross misdemeanors. And then the other part of it is like serious constitutional appellate work, the kind that doesn't get done by private law firms, the kind that gets done by 501c4 entities and shit like that. Like these are political action committees that have staff lawyers and tons of funding from billionaires who are interested in the outcome of these questions. It's not like your law firm in your random law firm in Atlanta is going to be handling a question of Second Amendment authority and immunity. Like that's just
when does that happen? And usually, to your point, these are federal questions. So for us to see a RICO charge get mixed in with that, we're like, okay, well, let's take a step back. Let's look at the fundamentals. Let's also look at, hey, who are the people that are prosecuting the former president, and are they clean? How does that work?
Exactly. Yeah, and you better be if you're going after if you're going after a billionaire who's not a president, you better be clean.
Yeah.
Like, because they can pay a guy $500,000 to investigate your teeth, man. Like it's a different level of engagement than you're going to get. You're not dealing with someone who's got to scrape together $10,000 to get someone to track you down across states. Like the fact that Trump was able to bring in an expert, he's like, here's the cell phone records. I've got all of them. You know what? Because I called my friend. I've got my friend over at Verizon. Maybe you've heard of it. It's small.
AT&T, Cellhawk. We've got a private investigator.
But it's like they've got money to put into these cases, and they will, because he has to. And so you've better be fucking clean. It makes it great.
Yeah, 100%. 100%. I want to shout out the lead attorney again, guys. Like, if you guys can give him a shout out and just type in TLA in the chat. He is a stream sponsor right now. And he is the reason why Nick and I know each other. So it'd be huge if you guys can type that into the chat. I want to continue the discussion, though. We want to look at these texts. And Nick, I know you're not feeling well, so we're going to do a quick few of these, take a peek at them and take a peek at the rest. But your commentary is super, super valued. And yeah, shout out to Hill on the back end. They're like, hey, this is amazing. Awesome. So why don't we go ahead and get back to that? Here we go. Let me go back to this view. Okay. So Ashley Merchant on the 15th was talking to Terrence Bradley. And here's what she said. They were talking a little bit about, Ashley left off by saying they are stalling big time. Terrence says, yes, they are. There's a few files that were shared. She says, I can call you back. Terrence says, yes. Ashley says, thanks. I'm thinking maybe HR issued cards. So Nick, from what you know from smaller law firms, is HR involved?
Well, remember the HR here is going to be the county attorney's office. So Nathan Wade and anybody on his staff and his partners who are going to be involved in this case, they're going to be working in some level of, I don't want to say they're going to be working parallel to, not with the county attorney's office, but they're going to be working parallel to them. They may share some resources. They have to be, the whole reason you appoint a special prosecutor is because you have to be divorced from the political aspect of a county attorney. You don't want those politics to be tainting the investigation. However, you do have this investigation that's going on, and you have a bunch of resources that they have. So what they can't find the record of the original contract, the hiring contract for Nathan Wade. So what she seems to be asking is, somebody had to issue badges to these guys. When were the badges issued? When did they start showing up at the county attorney's office and going, hey, I'm Nathan Wade, special prosecutor. Here's my badge. So they can go in the back room and they can start accessing these files. They can start talking to the other attorneys. That's my guess as to what's going on here is somebody issued them badges because they have to have access to the government's work here because they are working with them. And so if you can't find the original contract, you can only find the renewal. Maybe you can find out who issued the damn badges and what date that was, because you want that date to obviously before November 1st.
Right.
And so, yeah, the HR in this case, my guess is going to be the HR at the county attorney's office who would be issuing those badges, taking those, you go stand there and you're like, here's my stupid face. You can take a picture. They're going to print it on there. And then you're going to never actually look at that badge ever again, except for the one time you have to go in and go bleep and scan it on a door and then go inside. But yeah, they got to know when that happened.
Yeah, and it's important because Ashley started fishing for this information in September. Remember, guys, she is going in front of a committee tomorrow to look at this entire transcript and is going to be speaking to the proceed or not even the contents of this entire transcripts. And here's the other thing, Ashley's married. So I just want to mention that because she didn't give the closing argument this past Friday. Her husband did because they have a joint law firm.
That's so
and
cool.
Terrence, when she presented Terrence with this evidence last week, like, hey, you didn't say this to me in a text message, he tried to deny it and say, I don't recall. 31 pages of this.
So Terrence is trying to mitigate this whole conversation is what's going on.
Correct.
Ooh.
And the plot thickens.
Yeah.
So Ashley says, any idea who I can get the affidavit from on the affair? Terrence says, no. No one would really burn that bridge. Note the date and time, September 18th of 2023, 3:12 p.m.
And this is the trouble with all of this stuff. In theory, you get people under oath and they're like, oh, they're going to tell the truth. They're attorneys, whoever, they're government employees. They're going to be scared of perjury charges. First of all, government employees, prosecutors specifically, are never scared of a perjury charge because their office has to go after the perjury charge, right?
Mm-hmm.
Like they're not going to prosecute, like they're very rarely going to prosecute a prosecutor for perjury. So no one in the county attorney's office is afraid of being put under oath and perjuring themselves. But here's what they are afraid of. Remember, this is all political. And even so the county attorney, Fani, will be elected, I believe, in Fulton County. In Minnesota, that's how it works. But everybody else there is going to be hired. But they're going to hire people who are, motivated in similar manners and are fun to work with.
Yeah.
Yeah, they're going to be fun to work with. You're not going to hire people that you
are diametrically opposed or like to. DTF.
Well, right. But the problem is, are any of these people attractive, AV? Like
oh my God, we went
I'm
there.
putting you on the spot. Name one attractive person in this case.
The only person that I think is attractive only because of his suits.
Donald Trump. No, I'm just kidding. Who is it? I was joking.
Nathan Wade is smooth in his suits.
Yeah, he dresses
well. Like he dresses very well, but like we have also heard through deeper research that Fani is not the only person in that prosecution's office that he has dealt with.
Oh.
He met her at a CLE thing. Lead and I have talked about this. You know those CLE trainings that are at hotels. And people get lit and it gets a little
that happens, and everybody would assume that I go to those because it'd be so much fun. But no, in Minnesota, we have
he's like in Minnesota. In Atlanta?
In downtown Minneapolis, they have the Minnesota CLE like business it's a CLE organization, and they sell like all the courses. So you just go, it's in a building downtown, you go and there's nothing there. You don't go to the fun like hotel things. Those exist, but I never go to them. I should, because they're probably better. You can probably drink during them.
But Nick, does it go down at those events?
The ones that I go to, no, because they're like in the middle of the day and everybody no, they're literally boring classroom ones, and they're not at like a convention center or hotel.
Okay.
But if you go to the fun like all day ones that are at like, oh, this is at the Hilton in downtown St. Paul, I'm sure those are great. I've just never been to one because, well, I probably meet the people who publish the Minnesota Lawyer publication there, and I don't like them.
Nick's trying to be good. He's like, I'm not telling you guys. It goes down.
Oh, I know it does. I've just never been to one. Like I would love to. I think it'd be hilarious. I'd be making fun of all of the lawyers trying to like awkwardly finger each other, but like that's not it's not for me.
Awkwardly finger each other. Yeah,
it happens. Especially the men.
Ooh. Oh Lord.
Look, I'm not saying anything about Kevin Featherly.
I hope Kevin Featherly is not watching. Let's get back to these texts, shall we? So, any idea who I can get the affidavit from on the affair? This is 3 days later. We started on the 15th. We are now at the 18th. Ashley is fishing. Terrence says, no, no one that would freely burn that bridge. Ashley says, okay. If Chris was asked under oath, would he know? Terrence says, no. She says, wow, I figured he would. I didn't expect him to be so careful. Giant cheese face with the teeth clenched. Terrence says he knows, but he wouldn't admit it. Ashley says, would you be interested? Oh, I never saw this. Nick, you're watching it with me right now. Ashley says, would you be interested in being a program director for one of the GACDL seminars?
Yeah, this is a weird one because, like, in the context of this discussion, this comes out of nowhere and almost looks like a little bit of a quid pro quo.
Correct. And look at the dates. They stopped talking on the 18th, and now she's coming with an offer.
Yeah.
I didn't see this the first time.
This is the weakness in their text. But you know what? Like, conversely, to play a little bit of the screen for Ashley Merchant here, this is a guy who's a partner at a law firm. It makes perfect sense for her to ask this question.
He wasn't representing Nathan at this time either. On 9/25/23, he was involved in the Fani case, but he was not representing Nathan in the divorce at this time.
And she can also simply say, look, this is a text conversation. It's really easy to have multiple threads of thought unrelated to each other going on. This is a person who can definitely be a program director for one of the seminars based on their experience and their expertise. And just because I'm talking to them about Nathan Wade, that has nothing to do with this. And also, this is a free position. There's no money exchange. It's actually like an encumbrance for them or whatever. They like. She can probably weasel her way out of this question, but it does look a little bit like a quid pro quo.
It's a little sus. I mean, and she says right here, I'm president next year. Oh, in 2024. And I wanted to get you more involved. Okay, so this started a long time ago.
Maybe her gears are grinding a little bit for Nathan Wade. Nice suits.
I didn't think
he was that handsome. Oh wait, no, Terrence Bradley. It's Terrence Bradley.
Terrence is the 300-pound guy with the really fucked up suits and the pinstripes and the polka dot ties. It's really fucked up.
Okay, I'm gonna take a look at it.
Oh my god, let me see.
Oh my goodness, yeah, no one's thirsting after this guy. Unless they're stranded in the mountains or whatever.
Oh, no.
I'm not really trying to be mean to Terrence.
No. And
he looks really angry in this picture.
He looks really angry. I mean.
Seems racist.
Okay. All right. Let me look up Terrence Bradley one more time, guys, so we can get an understanding of who we're looking at. Especially because Ashley is going into this tomorrow. These are really fucking awful suits. I don't swear on my channel.
They're bad though. They're bad suits. Like
these are terrible. And like
look, I'm not a suit aficionado, but I can tell, like I can wear I can wear a suit. Like I can do it. This guy is not wearing a good suit. It's not great. He looks like a professor who should be fired. Look at this.
Look at the checkers. Like, why does that ever freaking match? Men watching, listen to me. If you have a pattern on your suit, don't you ever wear a solid color tie. Don't do this to people's eyes.
Yeah, don't polka dot a tie with some fucking line pattern on there, like this checkerboard thing with these lines. Okay, wait, Avi though, what is he looking at? Like, I can't tell the emotion behind those eyes. Like that emotion has a couple different possibilities. He's either really mad or he's hungry. Right? Or he's looking at the price list of Taylor Swift tickets. Which of the three is it?
It could be that. Oh my God, how much are those tickets now?
They're like, if you want just regular tickets to her show anywhere like safe, I think they're like 400 plus, like for the basic shit. And if you want like really good tickets, you're paying like $1,500, $2,000, I think. I've never been to a Taylor Swift show. I'd go there, but she'd kick me out.
You know, I broke my ankle once listening to a Taylor Swift song.
How did you break your ankle listening to a Taylor Swift song?
I went to fucking Soul Cycle for the first time in my life. It was the worst experience ever. I went and like
You were
all
doing
my
a spin class
I
with
did
Taylor Swift and you
it was
busted
the
your
first
ankle?
time I was there, and she was her first concert in Boston, and all my girlfriends at work were like, "Hey, you know, we're all in our late 20s, like, hey, let's go to Soul Cycle after work." I was like, "Sure, let's do it." And it was the weekend of the Taylor Swift concert, and like everybody's like, "Get on the bikes," and I didn't know what I was doing. Signed a release form.
You signed a release form?
Signed a release form.
Line out those things. It's so funny because they'll all take them because they don't know what they're doing.
Mm-hmm.
I go through all of my liability waivers for like me and my kids and my wife or whatever, and I'm like, oh yeah, and I just like line out all these things like all the important words, and I just hand it to them.
As a lawyer?
Oh yeah, and they're just like, okay, whatever. Like they just know that they have to take the signed form, but if they do that, they accept the changes that you made. And so like I'll line out all of the like the media releases immediately. Got to do that because of my kids. But then I'll line out all of the liability waiver stuff. Like I'll take out the negligence stuff and like anything reasonable. I just line that out and then I sign it. I'm like, here you go. And they're like, okay, like you want to run that by anybody? They're like, I don't know. They just told me to take it. It's like, yeah, take it. Enjoy that. If I injure myself right now, or if you injure me, you're done.
Yeah, and I really didn't do much. Like I signed the release form, put on the shoes, got on the bike. I got on bike number 1. That was the worst out of 100. I just wanted to be in the corner away from everyone. I didn't realize it was bike number 1. And you know, girl got on the bike. She's like the instructor. She's like, "Yeah, we're gonna do this. It's a Taylor Swift concert weekend. We're gonna do this. She's in Boston, so we're gonna list the whole playlist. It's Taylor Swift." And I'm like, "Oh shit, what did I get myself into?" Right?
What song did you break your ankle to? Do you know?
I would break it up. I don't even know if that's the name of the song. She was just
Shake It Off.
Shake It Off. I said break it off because in my mind it broke something.
Yeah, no, I get it. I get the trauma. I love T-Swizzle. Like, unironically, I could listen to Taylor Swift songs all day. I can sing all of them all day too.
Shake It Off. Sorry, guys.
Shake It Off.
Yeah, but here's the thing. Like, they were just like, okay, who's on bike number 1? Put some more like energy on it. Stand, like dance, like you know, like rise up in the freaking bike and do it. And like, I have in my later years done Peloton and have learned how to do this, but on day 1, come on, man, this is intense.
Like, can you try? Can you try bike number 1? Can you put forth some effort, please?
I was like, no, I just want to sit here on 2 speed and just pedal. It was terrible. Anyway, shenanigans. I also want to shout out, guys. I am having a great conversation with Nick here, but I do want to shout out Big Supers. I want to shout out Brandon L. Jed. BLJ with $100 super chat. Thank you so much. He sends $100. That is super, super nice of you. He's one of my day 1 supporters and knows that this is a big collab for me. And Nick, I'm so happy that you're here. We're talking about these things, and I know that we've been planning this forever. So it's nice to get it done. And with that being said, BLJ is like, get back on the topic. Nobody wants to hear about your break it off, aka shake it off experience.
BLJ, I'm about to start serenading you with some Taylor Swift songs right now.
If you guys can do me a favor and type BLJ in the chat, that would be fantastic. And I don't know, BLJ, is it too much to type in BLJ and hashtag shake it off? You will be like forever scarred by that from my channel.
I love it. No, that's fantastic. Look, I unironically have liked Taylor Swift forever. And
really?
I have. So this is going to sound super lame, but I hate saying this. I was a writing major, and before becoming a banker and then a like a stock broker and like a brokerage guy, and then eventually a lawyer, what I wanted to do was entertain people with stories and write movies and books and stuff like that. Here's the thing that Taylor Swift does, and I won't make this take too long. Taylor Swift has this ability through very simple lyrics. If you're talking about persuasive speech and you want to get into official terms, it's called a 5-word sentence. But you follow up a major point with these with a 5-word sentence that just hammers something home. It's very simple. It's very straightforward. It's not metaphorical. It's not flowery. It's nothing. It's just bam, 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 bam. You have 5 words to crush it. Taylor Swift tells stories and paints scenes with 5-word sentences, which means that she can take a 42-year-old curmudgeon like me, and she can put me in the shoes of like a 23-year-old girl, like trying to make her way through an industry that I've never been a part of, or a relationship that I've never had or whatever. And she can do that for everybody on earth because of the way she simply paints scenes with straightforward, non-metaphorical, non-literary language. And that is such a fucking value when you have 3 minutes to tell a story in a song.
Yeah, in a song, you're right.
That's what makes her one of the legitimate, I know people hate this, but she's legitimately one of the best songwriters of our generation because she can do that. You don't have to like her style. You don't have to like the genre. You don't have to like her music, but her lyrical ability, her writing ability, that is what I appreciate so much. Also, she's kind of hot, but
I mean, yeah. Yeah, I think she has some roots in New England too, so that's why she's such a star up here.
yeah, of course.
But to your point, like being able to lyrically put something together, if you're writing it in 3 minutes, like Lead and I do these like hour-long live streams, but lately I've been trying to condense down videos to 10 minutes and just say, here's what you guys need to know, and people seem to like it.
Yeah. If you can take complex ideas, put them in simple terms that people don't have to think through, and use very clever devices. I could talk for literally hours about this in all kinds of contexts about advertising and stuff like that. But if you can distill using cheat codes and tropes, basically, of the brain into getting people into places that they can't go, but knowing how to do it, you will sell them anything on earth. And Taylor Swift has sold herself and her story to more people than anyone. And if like you can say she's whatever you want, but she's objectively better than almost anybody in the world at selling those stories to everybody, not just a group of people, everybody. They all like her. And so that's I love her for that forever.
Yeah. No, dude, I'm with you. Like I won't like her for the song that was playing when I sprained my ankle or broke it or whatever.
I don't even like Shake It Off, but
I said break it off.
The
shenanigans, right? I'm like, break it off. Okay.
Fani was getting, and Wade was breaking it off.
Yeah. Nathan Wade was in the back room breaking it off. Right? Okay, let's get back to this. And this is when Ashley was telling him about the opportunity she had. This was on the 25th. After the 18th, Terrence says, I'm interested. Let's chat. Ashley says, yay. Okay. Then there's a month between the next time they talk again. She says, hey, I still want to talk about that job. Are you still interested? He says, yes. That's on October 30th.
Very complex conversation.
A little bit of a gap again. November 6th. Ashley says, the March seminar is on this date at the state bar. Would you be open to being a program director for that one? Now we have offer number 2. Or what? Or would you rather a different one? He never answered. December 12th. Hey, following up on this, I'm getting ready to appoint program directors and would love to, I think she said, would love to have you as one if you are open to it.
Yeah.
He actually does respond this time and says, good afternoon. Can we talk about it on Thursday? Shouldn't be a problem. Ashley says she loved it. And she says, yay! I got some confirmation about Fani and Nathan. This is when the plot thickens, guys. This is when it gets real.
Yes.
On December 13th, this is a month before she started really questioning this dude and before he started giving her information. What's important about this, and I'm just going to drop us down, Nick. Look at how she's in the green.
Yeah.
You don't have much responses here. Terrence really, she gave him an offer for a job or whatever, or some type of like heightened program or something. And he was responding lightly.
So I love Ivan Jr. says Terrence dropped the ball 3 times right there. Actually, look, Terrence is like, if I can tell you someone who's very smart, seasoned, and calculating in this equation, Terrence is like, yeah, I'll do this thing, but he also knows how it looks in this conversation. That's why he's like, good morning. Hey, can I talk to you Thursday? He doesn't want this in text. He wants these texts to be about Fani Willis and Nathan Wade. He doesn't want these texts to be distracted by some offer for some position or for whatever. He doesn't want to look like a quid pro quo. He doesn't want it to look like he's selling information. He doesn't want to get into these motivations and impropriety that could be elicited out by some. He wants to focus this text conversation with this person that he barely knows. And this is the thing you have to remember. That first text that she has, like, he had just met her and is like, hey, by the way, I got some information on this Nathan Wade, Fani Willis stuff. They cut me out, but this, they got some shit going. He doesn't really know her. And she's trying to do the attorney salesman thing. Hey, let me get to know you. Let me build some rapport. Let's build some trust. Hey, you got these things that you could be doing. Like, I've been looking at your bio, your CV. I know you could do these things. It'd be great. You could reach out into the community. That'd be awesome. I know you're probably looking for opportunities to get yourself back out there after being terminated. Like, she's trying to do this traditional thing. This guy is on a mission of pillage, and that mission must serve the greater purpose. And she's distracting from it. And he's like, so he's keeping those responses very circumscript, and he's not letting a lot of that happen. And he may be willing to do it, but can we talk about it on Thursday? Like, I'll just talk to you like in person or on the phone and not in this chat, you dummy. This chat could go in court. That's the one thing when you get into corporate America, if you listen to HR, if you listen to the risk assessment department, they will tell you whatever you put in an email might show up in court someday. And this guy right now is following the whatever you put in this text message thread might show up in court. He's doing it. Ashley Merchant isn't. And I think that's very telling. She's trying to sell him, and he's like, you don't need to sell me. Just let's do this.
Yeah. And I think this is important because this is in the month of December, guys. And usually, like, we talk about it if you have an iPhone, we talk about it like you guys see it on the right-hand side. I'm calling it being in the green. But if you have an iPhone, if you're not getting responses, you're in the blue, right? Like, if we're looking at this, Ashley is like on the 5th, I left a message. Yay. And then look at her 7 days later or 6 days, 8 days later. I got some information about Fani and Nathan. This is where it starts to get real. And notice that you don't get a response on December 13th. We are now in January, where she's fishing again on January 5th. She fishes again.
Yep.
And look, he finally responds and says, wow. This is what we're seeing, guys. So I wanted to show you guys September, October, November, that quarter before we lead up to it. And before I go anywhere, I do have to shout out. I have to shout out Brandon Eljet one more time.
Dude, this guy is a monster.
He is now, he is now beat out the lead attorney as stream sponsor, Brandon Eljet, BLJ.
Oh, lead sitting second fiddle. Oh my goodness. In Alabama, I heard the devil went down to Georgia lead and you let him outplay you.
Oh, BLJ is here at $200. And BLJ means so much to me, guys. He's one of my original, contributors, original supporters. Like, when I first started this channel, BLJ was one of those people that was always there. Like, hey, keep going. Don't give up. Don't give up. Like, I was rusty back then. Now that I'm getting it down, and I'm really getting into the YouTube thing, BLJ is that supporter that is so special to me. If you guys can do me a favor and type in BLJ one more time, he is the reason why Nick and I are still online going through this. He's sponsoring this stream for $200. He doesn't have to do that. And what does he say? He says, you can say that. I'm okay with it, AV. I forgot what I said. I said a lot here. People are like, you're swearing. This is not like you. What's happening?
Oh, Nick, sorry. I have that influence on people. I don't try to. I'm like, it's just, guys, I stopped caring what people like about their sensibilities. I'm like, well, you can either be around me. I won't swear around kids. And
I don't do that either.
I don't swear around really old people either.
Oh, okay.
Because I was taught like by my parents that you respect the elderly and you don't swear around children because you don't know what they've been exposed to and that's not your place. So all of that, but outside of that, I have the mouth of a fucking sailor. And it like I can rein it in. If anybody asks me to, I can rein it in. But if I don't, though, people tend to just loosen up and they drop a little bit here and there.
This is what happens. I swore on your stream thank you. Thank you. I mean, PSA guys, like I normally don't do this, but okay.
I just thought,
oh my God. Shout out to Metal US, but I know him as Thane. Thane is the biggest investor in my channel. He has just dropped $200. I believe he is the co-sponsor with Brandon L. Jett. This is huge. Thane means so much to me. He means so much to the lead attorney. You guys are showing us a ton of love tonight. I'm so happy to finally get Nick here. Right?
Yeah. Dude,
I'm so finally happy to get you here. You're like the second attorney I've had on my channel.
I want to be back here way more often. I have been, my schedule got so messed up lately. I haven't been anywhere. I think of collaborative streams, I think you're the second one I've been on in multiple months.
Really?
And it's, yeah, because I've wanted to come on your show forever. I love you. You're so fun, so smart. And like, you have this different perspective. And I know that you have a financial background and that we have that, at least you're probably a broader financial background than me, but we have that in common. And I would love to like talk through some of these issues and stuff like that. I know we have so much to discuss. And I finally, like you asked me to come on and over the weekend and I couldn't make it work because we had people at our house. But you said, how about Tuesday, like this time? And I was like, yes. I'm going to be there. But I wanted to tell you, like, bring me back. Let's do a full on show sometime and we'll make it work because we have so much to discuss. And you're like a great streamer. Like the lead attorney is your sidekick. And he's funny and all, but like you keep him around for eye candy because he wears a suit or whatever. And it's like, oh yeah, he's got like these nice suits and he's got this stupid like green screen background with the books that aren't even real. He just goes beer, beer, beer on his little air horn thing. But like you're the star of the show. And I want to be here all the time because I think you have so much potential. I think people need to hear what you've got to say. And you're busting into this whole like community with a different perspective than sort of the like I'm a non-traditional student, right? I went to law school when I was like 33 or something like that.
Me too. I went at 27, 28.
And when you go there after you've like had some life, you've had some career, you've had all this stuff, and you go and you're doing your night classes and stuff, and then you meet the daytime students who went.
Oh, the day students.
And you're like, you guys are 23, like you graduated from your cool undergrad with your poli-sci or your pre-law degree. That was just your planning step for this next thing. And you haven't done anything and you're going to go out and you're going to divorce a couple. Like you're going to sever a business. You're going to acquire a business. You do these things that require like life and have so much invested in them that these people have poured their souls into. Yeah. And yet, you haven't done anything outside of literally going to college and then law school.
That's it. I loved being in constitutional law. Like I would go to the night classes. I would come to the day classes and I would watch people watch Red Sox games. And I'm like, we haven't won a goddamn World Series in years, but you're watching a game instead of actually learning. But with that being said, shout out to the Red Sox. Love Boston, but the lead attorney is right here. If you guys can do me a huge favor and type in Thane Mithra and BLJ in the chat, that would mean a ton to me. These guys are amazing. Thane is the absolute like biggest investor in my channel. Going back to 2 years when I started, I was making all types of mistakes. Tonight I'm swearing, but like Thane has watched me do some shenanigans and he's like, whoa, but he's still here after 2 years. So that means a ton to me. Same thing with BLJ. And of course, I learned everything from the lead attorney and wouldn't have met Nick without the lead attorney. So really good stuff.
He's pretty cool.
If you guys can type that in, that would be fantastic to us. Okay, let's get back to this, because when people bless me in this way, and people have a ton of questions for you, Nick, so I'm going to try to get through the beginning of this quickly, because I think where we are is exactly where we need to be, meaning Ashley Merchant's text really started to get a little bit more deeper with Nathan Wade when he started to bite in January. We saw September, we saw October, we saw December. Look at all the green. She was in the green. Now we get a little bit of gray here, but why? He got severed from the law firm around this time. Okay. And she says on the 5th, let's bring it all the way back. Ashley says, "Oh my God, Nathan took Fani on a cruise and a trip to Napa. And paid for it with his firm."
What
is
an
he
idiot.
that dumb?
Yes, he is.
Terrence says, "Wow, I'm on a plane from Dubai." He's coming from Dubai. What were you doing in Dubai, Terrence? He says, "Land at 3." If he's responding in that way, he cannot wait to talk to her.
It's I can't. What is he doing in Dubai? There's so many. There's so many activities there. I'm sure he's doing legal representation.
I've heard about some things that happen in Dubai.
Look, they don't have a working sewer system.
What?
Dubai doesn't have a working sewer system. So like all those hotels, they literally have giant septic trucks come in, and they're just all day. They're just bussing out rich people ass juice like all day down the road. It's so weird. It took away the mystery. I was like, oh, Dubai seems really cool. Like, I'd like to go there sometime. And then it was like, wait, they don't have a sewer system. So there's literally just trucks full of shit just going. Where do they go?
Can you guys put in hashtag ass juice?
It's like you can see pictures of it. It's just a train of these septic trucks, and you're like, oh, because that like big like sail, like the big hotel that has a sail shape to it. Like, I'd love to stay there. But yeah, you just see the trucks hauling away all the shit from it, and you're like, ew, oh God. Like, how many Instagram models bathed in that?
That's what I think about. Whenever people talk about Dubai, I think about Instagram models, or I think about that woman, and I did a video on her that got stuck in Dubai because she started yelling at someone over a rental car or something. And it's just like, yeah, you're going to go to jail.
Yeah, you can't do any of that.
You cannot do that in the UAE.
Yeah, Dubai can be cool. Like Abu Dhabi. So my grandfather was a chemical engineer, and he spent a ton of time in the Emirates. And I was talking to my grandma about the 3 different states, Sharjah, Abu Dhabi, and Dubai. And she was always, this is years ago, who knows what it's like now, but she's like, Abu Dhabi was the scariest one because it was like the most conservative Muslim one. But all of them are still pretty conservative, and they'll let you have some leeway. Abu Dhabi won't let women walk around without men, or at least wouldn't when she was there. But the other ones you kind of can, but like, you can't drink in public, and you can't talk about anything. You can't be yelling at people. You can't drop anything. No, you're in a country that's owned by a monarch who wants to bring people there so that he gains more money. You can't fuck around with that. And people still, they're like, oh yeah, I'm going to go to Dubai and do that. No, you're not. You're not, because you're not a prince. You know how I know you're not a prince? Because you don't have $1 billion.
Too funny. It's insane.
I want to go there. I wish I had $1 billion.
Hey, there we go. Well, Nick, listen, I know you got to run soon. I appreciate your time. Thank you so much for being here with me on my tiny, tiny channel. I feel so small compared to like so many others that are doing their thing. But it means a lot to me that you were also here when you weren't feeling well.
Right? My pleasure. Let's make sure that we can chat again when I'm feeling way better, because we've done like an hour and a half or whatever. Let's do way more. Let's do a full show. Let's talk about some fun stuff and really.
Yeah. Last time I was on your side, you had me there for like 4 hours. I was like, oh my God.
Sorry. I kind of do that by accident.
Too funny. Too funny. Well, where can people find you? I'm pretty sure they all know, but where can people find you, and when will you be back? What are you working on?
If there's a social media platform, I'm on it on Ricada Law, if I'm on it at all. If I'm not on it, I might not be. Like, I'm not on Kick or whatever. But YouTube, Twitch, Rumble, locals, Instagram, Facebook. Don't go to Facebook. Like, I don't go there. I don't do anything. But you know, Twitter, all of that stuff. Ricado Law is where you can find me. I'm actually streaming I'm supposed to start in 7 minutes.
Okay, go.
I'm gonna be late to my own show, which is fine. But tonight we're going through the Supreme Court's per curiam opinion on Colorado's attempt to remove Trump from the ballot. This is the unanimous decision that is not a surprise to anybody with any brain cells at all, but was definitely a surprise to all the mainstream media and all of the legal experts that NBC can muster. But the idea of a state disqualifying a presidential candidate under the 14th Amendment without a clear express test from Congress that's codified in statute is nonsensical. And there's my favorite lawyer, Pisco, doesn't even know why this is happening. He's like coping really hard on it, apparently, which is funny. But this is seriously like the most obvious unanimous decision, and the media can't figure it out. We're going to go through the per curiam opinion. That just means that we have no idea who wrote it, but the entire court agrees. And then we're going to go through some of the concurrences from Amy Coney Barrett and Sonia Sotomayor, the dumbest justice to ever live. And we're going to read about how Sonia Sotomayor suggests that judicial restraint has been a key factor in the court decisions since Marbury versus Madison. And if you understand Marbury versus Madison and you understand the concept of judicial restraint, you would know why I say that Sonia Sotomayor is the dumbest justice to ever be appointed to the court, because Marbury versus Madison was the polar opposite of judicial restraint. It's where the court took all of the power. None of it's in Article 3, and it's great. So we're going to make fun of all of that. We're going to be listening. We're going to do that tonight. I don't know how the show's going to go. We may do some other things, but that's the main thrust of it. And then I'm going to go to bed because I'm still trying to knock out the like sinus pressure that's left over from this flu. But Avi, thank you so much for having me on. And let's do it again soon, very, very soon. Not like in 10 million years.
Yeah, I think we planned this like a year ago, so it's finally good to see it happen.
CJ says so. Never read my $50 super chat. Seriously, make sure you get that. Okay. I'll wait.
Let me get it. I'm sorry. Usually, guys, like I do like to start with the hundreds and as we go, and then I'll read them. So if it took too long, CJ, I apologize.
Yeah, guys. It's not her fault. I have to get going, and I end up rambling through a lot of stuff. So
here's CJ. He says, Nick, if you're the judge, knowing what you know today, what are you thinking?
Oh, these two are disqualified immediately from this case. First of all, they should have been disqualified from the relationship and how it's clearly starting to show out how it's developed. But if you ignore that and you realize that you go with how they represented the relationship, they breached their ethical duty of candor to the court a long time ago. They tried to obscure, even after all of this, they tried to obscure the relationship. They tried to obfuscate where it started. They've lied under oath on the stand to the judge about the timing of their relationship, the involvement of their relationship, the monetary exchange. First of all, Fani Willis saying that she paid her share of these vacations. She just paid it in cash, but she doesn't have any ATM withdrawal receipts or any ATM deposit receipts. And neither does Nathan Wade have any ATM deposits from when she must have handed him like $6,000 cash at the end of this extravagant like cruise ship vacation. The fact that none of this can be produced, they've lied to the court, and it's obvious. They need to be off this case. This case should probably be dead. I thought the case should be dead originally. It's not a great case. Saying that Donald Trump tried to interfere in Fulton County's election is stupid, because if you actually listen to the context of the call, again, love or hate Trump, he's clearly saying our data says that there's like 40 to 80,000 votes that are in my favor. We need 11,000 X number of votes. That's what we need to find. He's not asking them to find illegal votes. He's saying, we know there's a pool of votes that is far larger than what we're looking for. This is the number we need. That's all we actually care about, is getting to this number so we can have that recount. We can have that runoff or whatever the Georgia law is there. And to try and make this into an election interference case was always a political move. It was always based on bullshit. It was not based on the phone call. And it was, if it was based on the phone call at all, it's about the political representation of the phone call by a couple of social major media organizations. Again, you don't have to like Trump. You don't have to think he won. But what he didn't do here was ask Brad Raffensperger to illegally find 11,000 votes. If you just listen to the call, it's very clear from the context that he says, here's the data that we have. Your data is different. We want to see it. Raffensperger says no. Kemp says no. And he says, we just want to see the data because we have different information. We think there's all these votes. And we think that if we just look through it, we're going to find these votes that show that we won this state and that Biden didn't. That is not a request for illegality. And we have to have deference on this, regardless of political lines, because that is what innocent until proven guilty means. He won't be proven guilty in this, even if it goes to trial. But this was never a good case. And then Fani Willis and Nathan Wade's corruption, they need to be off of it. They need to be disciplined. I don't know if they need to be disbarred, but they need to be made some sort of public example because they made a public example of the case. That's all I got.
100%. Oh my gosh, that was perfectly said. And CJ, apologies for missing your $50. Super important. If you guys could do me a favor and type in CJ in the chat for asking a wonderful question here and really getting to the crux of the conversation. But Nick, I know you have to go.
I do. And thank you guys for having me. Guys, if by some miracle you're from me and you're seeing AV for the first time, subscribe to her channel, follow her stuff. She's great. She's smart. She's sharp. She's hilarious. And I like the heck out of her. I'm going to be on here as soon as possible, but follow her stuff. She and Lead Attorney cover all sorts of great stuff. I guess go like subscribe to Lead or whatever, but mostly AV because she's great. Thank you so much, AV, for having me on, and let's do it again as soon as possible.
Yeah, absolutely. Thank you so much, Nick. And you guys, of course, I don't have to say it, but subscribe to Nick. He's going live in like 2 minutes. So it's good to see you, and I hope you feel better.
Thank you so much. I'll be late, but I'll be there as soon as possible. Thanks, guys. Peace. And AV, have a great one. Have a great stream. Thanks again.
Good to see you. Thanks, Nick. Bye. All right, guys. With that being said, I'm going to actually take a quick super chat break and then go back to the text that we haven't seen. Lead and I covered this on his channel. And after this stream, I'll go ahead and put a card above so you can look at our reactions. Raw dog. Haven't seen it. Have not read these texts. We looked at them like just without any prior knowledge. And we read those text messages and we saw how Terrence was singing like a bird to Ashley, right? So again, I want to give a notable shout out to the Little Gaming channel, right? He has become a member. He also gave a super generous donation as well. Shout out to Dinara. I think I covered that one. Shout out to R. Howard, who sends a $4.99 super sticker. Thank you so much, R. Howard. Shout out to James, who had a question. He says, was about to go to bed, but Nick is on AV7. Not going to miss this. When do you see that, James? It doesn't happen every day. Thank you so much, James. Shout out to Dub Rightside, who became a new member. Thank you so much, Dub. Really, really happy to see that you subscribed. Shout out to Rob, who became a member as well. Rob, thank you so much. Super, super generous of you. Mr. Told You 10 cents, $10. He says, shout out to AV7. Mucho gusto. Thank you so much for being over here on my side. Shout out to Julie. Julie has some of my favorite supers. I love them. Julie says, don't let rackets get all crackerdly. Thank you so much, Julie. I mean, he can get there from time to time, but this is really, really fun. Julie, I always enjoy reading your super chats. Thank you so much. That was really, really sweet of you. Shout out to Vincent, who says, shout out to Nick and AV. Hope I can grab lunch with AV and Lead soon. This case has been crazy. Don Vicente. I mean, have you seen it? We've got cell phone records. We've got inconsistencies on the stand. We've got boots. We've got all types of shenanigans. We've got fired Post-its. It just gets better and better and better. Stay tuned, guys. We got more coming tomorrow. Ashley Merchant, who is the topic of this, we're going to look at these texts a little bit more. She's going to be at a Senate hearing tomorrow discussing these texts. Don Vicente, I hope you're doing well. Thank you so much for sending a $20 super. That means so much to me. Shout out to Young Black Economist, who became a YouTube member. Shout out to Young Black. Thank you so much. Got another one from Code Red, who says, thanks to Nick for bringing Lead on his show. I subbed immediately. Thanks to Lead for introducing us to AV. AV, you are killing it, girl. Great collab tonight. Fani, cash. Shout out to Code Red. Thank you so much. I like your picture. It looks like we have some VR action happening. So I really, really like that. Thank you so much. Don Vicente, another 10. Shout out to the 5s and 10s. He says, I don't know why, but Nick saying Fani is hideous. It sounds racist. Just kidding. No, Nick is amazing. And sometimes things hit a little bit differently when Nick says it, right? But it's a lot of fun. Nick is amazing. I had the opportunity to go to his meetup last February, about a year ago now, with Lead and myself, and there were a ton of people in the LawTube space there, so we had a chance to mingle with everyone, get to know folks in person, and Nick was so humble and super nice, and that's when we agreed. I was just like, at some point you got to come to my side, and he's just like, 100%, I'll definitely come over there. So Don Vicente, thank you so much for that. Super. The Lost Chicago Girl says, AV and Nick, hearts. Yes, thank you so much. Lost Chicago Girl, was good to see you on Lead side the other day. Ramblin' Rec became a member. Thank you so much, Ramblin' Rec. Super nice of you. Shout out to Ron, another one of my favorite people, with a $20 super. He says, shout out to Nick for being strong and coming on to giving his knowledge and input. I popped open a Stella and drinking to you too. Keep growing, AV. Always got my support, sisters. Salute to you both. Thank you so much, Ron. And Ron, you're another one of my favorites, an accountant. So I know this is your busy season right now. It's always good to see you, and it's good to see you supporting the channel and what we do. I mean, I'll be honest, guys, I'm tired. Yesterday, the Lead and I, we did 2 streams. Everybody in my family and friends, like I was hanging out with a friend earlier. She's like, you're freaking crazy if you're going to go live tonight. And I'm like, I was texting Nick. I'm like, are we going to do this? He's like, hey, an hour? And I was like, oh yeah, we're going to do it in an hour. I'm exhausted. But like, I know that you guys getting this information beforehand is going to be good, right? Looking at these text messages one more time before we go into that hearing tomorrow is going to be valuable. So I definitely wanted to look at it one more time. And Ron, I hope you're enjoying your Stella. We're doing this. So thank you so much for the super. Julie again, who says, I was watching Daryl Brooks on the dreaded day of Nick's live. It was worse than that day in January, a threat to democracy that day. If you guys don't know what Julie is talking about, one of the dreaded cases from a year ago was that of Daryl Brooks, who had a red Ford Escape and got in it, had some drug issues, all types of stuff going on in Waukesha, Wisconsin. Got in the car and decided that he was going to run his car through a parade of people. There was a parade going on, and he just ran the car through a parade of people. This ninja, sorry guys, I have to get a little colorful over here. If you don't know what that means, you're going to have to figure it out. This ninja decided that he was going to represent himself. And it was, everyone in LawTube was looking at this like it was just a mockery of democracy, because you couldn't have had a worse person represent themselves. This channel got monetized on me and Lead watching Daryl Brooks and his shenanigans, because he was just wilding out in court. There was one day he took his shirt off, just bare back, everything, just took his shirt off, just chest out. You guys thought that the person jumping over the partition to like, tackle a judge was bad. This dude was in court, like, and it was a female judge. She kept trying to check him. And every time she tried to check him, he would have something slick to say. And she would be like, hey, if you're not going to listen to me, I have to kick you out. It was like talking to a toddler. He took his shirt off and he would write signs. Like he would like make pieces of law up. It was terrible. And it's just like, this is being televised. Where is our country going? Julie, where is it going? Shout out to Ivan, who gifted 5. AV to the 7th power memberships. Ivan, it was good to see you last night on lead side. Thank you so much for blessing my people. We have manners. I'm from the north, but we have manners, guys. Over here on this side, if you received a membership from Ivan, please tell him thank you. It's really important. And Ivan, thank you so much. I know that that is not a cheap thing to do at all. And it keeps me going to know that you guys support me. So thank you. Thank you for that one. Shout out to Truth, Lies, and Opinions. She said, the beautiful, talented AV, so glad to find you live. Congratulations, young and super shawty. And this is $50. Like Truth, Lies, and Opinions, a veteran. Someone that has supported this country, someone that has given her time and dedication to this country. And she's also a female. You know, there's not a lot of women that are brave enough to go into the military, but Truth, Lies, and Opinions was one of those brave women. So thank you. And, you know, thank you for your service. And if you are a veteran, if you are a male or a female that has served your time and has supported the country, thank you so much. And happy Super Tuesday to everyone. We're catching up. I'm trying to get through these supers. I just have a few more left, guys, and then we will get back to these text messages and finish it off. But Truth, Lies, and Opinions, this was very generous. You have supported me so many times when I've been on the lead side. And again, like I said, guys, I'm tired. I am tired. I think we went last week, we went like 7 days straight streaming. I was so tired. Like I'm exhausted. So thank you so much. This really helps. Shout out to the Lost Chicago girl that says, hit the like button. If you guys can hit my like button, that would be nice. That would be nice. I don't go live like that, but when I do, it's always nice, right? Ivan says, I believe I have figured out behind the scenes of Terrence's behavior. I have put the pieces of the puzzle together. I'll reveal it when you and Lee drop the link. Oh, Ivan's ready to talk. Ivan's like, I think I know what's going on with Terrence. Thank you, Ivan. Shout out to Kat. She says, attorney client privilege exceptions. Reminds me of Courtney Clenny and the laptop. Oh my God. Whenever this settles, I need to go back to the Courtney Clenny case because that's coming, guys. It's down here in Miami. This is the girl that like murdered her boyfriend and said that it was self-defense. And she said she threw a knife from across the room and it somehow landed in his chest with precision and hit a vital artery and he died. They didn't arrest her for 4 months. She went to rehab. She's an OnlyFans model. That case is crazy. We will get back to that one, Kat, for sure. Shout out to NXRD, who says, it's great to see former law pope with AV to the 7th power. Yeah. Is he former now? What happened? What happened? Has he been removed? Let me know, Ann. We covered the lead, of course. I wouldn't be here without him, guys. And if you haven't checked out his course, please check it out. Oh my gosh, I think he's running a deal right now. That's how I learned how to do this. Maybe not well. Sometimes I miss y'all super. CJ was like, hey, Nick, get this girl to go look at that. So, you know, sometimes we make mistakes, but at the same time, we're always trying to give you guys the best show possible. Code Red gave out 5 AV to the 7th power memberships. Code, thank you. That is super generous. And you gave a super chat earlier. That's super nice of you. Look at Ivan doing the same thing. You guys are blessing me tonight. Wow. Oh my God, Code Red and Ivan. Thank you both. That is so nice of you. And you're expanding my audience by doing that. Thank you so much. Mild Culture Plate says, where is Belize? Does anyone know where Belize is? Mild, it's such a great question. What continent is Belize on? Does anybody know the answer to that? Can you put it in the chat? Put in the answer to that question. What continent? Can we ask ChatGPT, what continent is Belize considered to belong to? Let me know. I can't wait to see it. Ron says, AV, please drop the link to your page where we can become a channel member. Is it hard to find? Let me see. Is it hard to find? Instagram, share channel. I will find it, Ron, when I have a moment. And here it is, membership. Members only live chat. I won't lock you guys out right now. I'm going to drop this in the chat, Ron, if you're still here, because I'm trying to get through these supers. But that is it. I mean, people are finding it, and it should be easy. You should be able to just click the button from there. But thank you, Ron, for that one. That was really nice of you. Shout out to Ernie D, who's also become a member. Thank you so much. I'm not going to lock you guys out like Lead. I'm nice for now. I'm small for now. But when it gets a little crazy, we might have to lock people outside. Right? We might have to lock people outside. Shout out to Mr. Pickles. You're on my side. Welcome. He says, do you think Willis took this seriously given Wade is prosecuting this and obviously inadequate counsel for this current hearing? Okay, let's break this down. Do you think Willis took this seriously given Wade is prosecuting this? I think initially she did. I think it got a little wild though when she appointed him to this. She didn't have to do that. She knew she didn't have to do that. She didn't have to add him to this. I do think that there was some type of personal benefit. This is my opinion though. Out of all people in the state of Georgia, millions of people, there were probably much more qualified people. And she really said that Nathan wasn't her first choice. She said that. She didn't lie to us. She said he wasn't my first choice. I had other people in mind. But I bet those other people that were in front of him were qualified. My question is, did you look at other resumes? Did you interview other people that were qualified? That's an issue. And I'm surprised that, and it's likely that some attorney might have asked when it came to the qualification part of questioning. But that's what I would have wanted televised. Is we're talking about his experience, but why did you pick him in particular? I would have expanded on that a little bit more. And so I hope that answers the question. Mr. Pickles, Drew Beats says, no question, no comment, just love, AP. Love you, Drew Beats. Always good to see you. You always support me. So seeing your name in here is not a surprise, but it also makes me feel super loved and supported right now. So thank you so much. Ivan says, Terrence, no control. Ivan's just going to tell us in a super. He's like, I ain't got time for Nick. He says, Terrence, no control of money. Had sex with 2 employees who was paid from $20K. Once shit hit the fan, Fani Wade set him up. He put Fani Wade together, set him up, told him he SA'd the woman, and told to shut the F up or else charges will be brought. Fani pre-med this. I mean, I get it. I get it, Ivan. I mean, it does look like a setup. But unless we have the facts to substantiate that, it's so hard to see it. I mean, a lot of it is coming out. A lot of it is coming out because you're starting to see that Terrence either had a vendetta or they had something on him. Because what we saw yesterday on Lead Side at 1 a.m. in the morning, I need to go to bed, y'all. At 1 a.m. in the morning, we saw evidence that Fani called Terrence around this time in September. I just showed you guys those texts. In September, Fani called him around that time. Conversation happened on speaker, right? Speakerphone. And another prosecutor in a different county heard that conversation and shared what she knew about all of this. So the plot thickens. Ivan, thank you so much. Very, very sweet of you. BLJ, I got you. Thank you, brother. You already know. Another one. We talk from time to time, but you know your girl tired. Shout out to Anna Alexa. She is in Canada. Thank you so much. She says AV to the 7th power. Thank you so much, Anna. Very, very sweet of you. Shout out to and $27.99 in Canadian dollars is super generous for the stream. So thank you. And I don't see a lot of female names over here. So I welcome the sisters coming over. Thank you so much for supporting the channel. Shout out to Chris Benoit. He says, hey, Nick, did you know Tonka Saw and my son have something in common? They both yelled, Daddy, no! Well, Chris, the Pope has left the building, but I will pass along the message and thank you so much for being here tonight. is super, super nice of you. Shout out to Miss Crow-T Jetty, who says, I can't compete with those high value men, but had to show my girl some love before I go to bed. Miss Crow-T Jetty, thank you so much. I was making a joke with Lead recently. We were watching something and a person had like a crochet hat. And I said, shout out to Miss Crow-T Jetty. Like, just know you are on our minds from time to time. BLJ again, thank you. Thane, yeah, I already know. Thane, like, wow. I mean, #1 investor in my channel. There are just certain people that help me realize, like, okay, yeah, I'm tired. Like, yeah, I need to record a video this morning. Yeah, I need to go to work. Yeah, I need to go grocery shopping and be a regular human. But those of you guys that go above and knock it out the frame, like a Thane or a BLJ, y'all are amazing. And this is why I will stay up and do this. Thank you both. Y'all again could type in Thane and BLJ in the chat. That would mean a lot to me. It really would. Nasir Puto sends $5. He says, let's start beef. Nick, tell AV why Guardian ad litems are judges' lackeys. Oh, Nasir, you do start stuff in places. I see you in some other law communities, and I'm like, Nasir, what are you doing? What are you doing? What are you doing? But Nick is gone, so he can't answer the question. So sorry, my friend. Shout out to T Kings. Dubai is perfect for Secretary Pete booty juice. Okay. Shout out to Wrench. The Sal's gonna rise again. He sends $10. He says the water around the hotels in Dubai look like you. They probably do. That's gross. Nicaea says skip mines too. Did I? Oh, I just read it. I'm sorry, Nicaea. We were in a deep conversation. What do you guys want from me? Shout out to Kim K. AV, you and Lead have been killing it all week. Glad I can finally get you live. Yeah, and the ladies have been wanting me to do something on my side, so I finally came over and did it. Thank you, Kim K. Super generous of you. Lady, are you the lady sponsor of the stream? A lot of ladies have been showing up. I mean, my audience, guys, has, skyrocketed from like 20% women to 46. So I am so happy to have so many sisters over here supporting me and what I'm doing, and don't think I'm crazy for doing stuff on YouTube. My family thinks I'm nuts. BT dubs, just saying. Shout out to Rodney Woods the second. That's tradition. He sends $9.99. Thank you so much. I so appreciate you, Rodney. You've been supporting me on Lead Side this entire week with these shenanigans. I appreciate it. Anna has become a member. Thank you, Anna. Anna, Anna Rodriguez. Anna Alexa Rodriguez. Anna. Shout out to Boston, Mass. Boston, proud of you. Oh, I miss home. I miss home a lot. I miss home quite a bit. Even though we have some sports and we have some teams that don't do well, it's just good to see green and bleed green for the Celts. It's good to, when we did have Tom, when the Patriots were doing well, we lost Belichick. I miss the Boston accent. I miss the snow that is planned to happen but doesn't happen. Like they're like, oh yeah, we got a nor'easter. It's gonna snow. We're gonna get 2 feet. And then you wake up in the morning, you went and bought all your salt, you're ready, you got your shovel and your snow blower. You've like called your neighbor across the street. You're just like, hey, my snow blower is about to run out of gas. Can I use yours? It's community. And then you wake up in the morning and you're ready to dig out your car. You ready to talk about the Celts as you do this in March because it's still snowing in March and it doesn't snow. And you're like, where's the nor'easter? Where is the nor'easter? Boston, Mass, thank you so much. I appreciate that. Okay, guys, I finally made it through the soups. I made it through the supers. Thank you guys so much for blessing me. Let's get back to this because Lead and I, when we cover this, we didn't finish the entire transcript. And I think it's really important for you to see it before Ashley goes to the hearing tomorrow. Okay? So let's look at this one more time. I covered some of it with Nick. I'm going to look at a little bit more with you, but I'm going to skip over what Lead and I did not cover. We covered Terrence being in Dubai, and Ashley's like, "Hey, great, you're coming back from Dubai, no problem. Call me." She had started to find out about the relationship, but I want you to remember that before this day in December, they hardly talked. In fact, she did not get a response in December. In January, she starts fishing, and Nathan is on the hook. Terrence finally starts responding to her, right? That's when he starts responding. This is the point where he starts, in my mind, this is where he starts to go rogue. Ladies and gentlemen, let's call it at January 5th of 2024 at 9:38 p.m. This is the moment Terrence starts to go rogue. Okay. He talks about being on a plane from Dubai. He starts to think a little bit about Ashley. He starts to give her information. He says, "I will call you as soon as I land." What was he doing in Dubai, guys? He was obviously on a trip. He's away from the Americas. That's a long way. Maybe he had some, we'll be positive here. Maybe he had some time to think about what he wanted to do. Maybe this is the point where he realized that this case is actually super serious. Maybe he realizes that this is the point where he needed to lawyer up. Maybe he realizes, hey, they cut me off. I'm going to have my revenge. I think this is where it happened right here. January 5th of 2024. Okay. Ashley keeps questioning him. A lot of that. I'm going to skip all the way until, and remember, guys, this is 31 pages. Lead and I made it to page 24. Look at how often they were texting each other. We're on page 8. Look, I'm still scrolling. Look at how often they were texting each other. The man that would not respond to her is all of a sudden responding. The man that had no time for her is all of a sudden responding. The man that was in Dubai, we're on page 12. We're only on January 7th. We're still scrolling. All of this is here. All of this is, subpoena Fani's kids. All of this. She's asking him to help her put these documents together. He does it. The snitching is crazy. It keeps happening. I'm still on January 7th and I'm on page 15. I'm still scrolling. We're going to scroll because Lead and I covered all of that, but I want you guys to see the very, very end of this document. She's going in front of a government body tomorrow and is going to have to speak to all of this. I don't think Ashley is wrong in this situation. I think Terrence is. How do you hide from this? He was on the stand. She put this document in front of Terrence and said, "Hey, Terrence, you don't recall anything?" "No." "Terrence, are you sure? Are you sure you don't recall anything you said to me? I mean, I have my phone right here. Can we see your phone? Can you show the judge? Because you said this to me and I'm looking at it the way that this conversation started. This is why I wanted to go back, guys. The way that this conversation started, she was obviously fishing, but I think she was setting something up, and Nick had mentioned this beautifully. She started setting up a relationship with him back in September. It's a little weird. I don't know. I mean, I don't think she knew that she was going to end up in this Fani case in January. Oh, hold on. I don't think Lead and I covered this page. I just saw something. Okay. Ladies and gentlemen, I hope you are happy that you're here because it's about to get real. Oh, okay. All right. Lead and I did not cover this. Okay. So we are on the 14th at 9:19 p.m. And this is when Ashley Merchant is talking about 2 Chainz. And what we mean by that is, if you guys have been living under a rock while we've been covering this, 2 Chainz is Yurti. That is the former best friend of Fani, and she owned the Dogwood residence where these cell phone towers have been pinging from in 2021, when Nathan said that he was not seeing Fani. And we have cell phone records that show that he was indeed seeing Fani late at night and making house visits. Okay. Now, Lead and I did not see this. Let's go in. Okay. So I have to go to the top because I want to give you guys all of these things. Okay. So on the 14th at 9:11 p.m., they were talking about Sonia Allen and the affair and taking Fani away from Sonia, right? Ashley says she is key. Thank you. She also knows about the media company payments. Lead and I read this page. I do not think we read page 19. Terrence says, have you spoken to her, Robin? Robin Yurti. This is 2 Chainz. Ashley says, no, but I found her name because I did an open record search for the media company. She was monitoring it and then they yanked her privilege. I do remember this. And he says, yes, she was fired. I don't think Fani knows about Sonia. I can't believe that. Ashley says, oh, why fired? I can tell when I read that it was bad. Guys, remember, Ashley is searching for information. And Terrence is just openly, oh my God, where'd it go? I'm going to stop sharing for a minute. It's just openly sharing it. Okay, I think that was page 19, y'all. I X'd it by accident because I got so excited. Well, let's get back to that. Share screen again. Here we go. Perfect. Okay. Not sure if Fani knew about Sonia. Okay, I'm going to bring you guys back here. Ashley says, oh, why fired? I could tell when I read it was bad. Terrence says she was fired for something like disclosing confidential information to a relative. Ashley says, ah, wow, they were college besties, her and Fani. Terrence says, yes. How did you find her? Ashley says, lots of time and effort. And then this girl put a smiling face with clenching teeth. Oh, Ashley says, I got a lot of Fani's emails about the critical media company that lady was close with, and with Fani, and then boom, she is gone. So I began to suspect that something happened. Terrence says she's her bestie. Be careful. She's probably still loyal. Not many people know that about the apartment. Ashley says, thank you. That is helpful. I have received so many tips and info this week. It's crazy. They made everyone sign NDAs this week. Who? In the DA's office? Terrence says, I heard. But she fired. So no NDA. Oh my God. And then Ashley says, yep. Terrence, snitching again, says, also Fani came out and said she didn't make them sign NDAs. Ashley says, I saw that. They rescinded them. Terrence says Dexter Bond is key also. That's her little flunky. Do boy. Ashley says, yes, he is huge, but won't ever talk to me. Ashley says, I'm going to subpoena him. I'm going to subpoena Jeff, Dexter, Coffee, and Green. He says Coffee was fired too. Terrence snitching on everybody. Ashley says, damn, I can't believe she fired them. Maybe he will talk. Why was he fired? And look at this. This is 9:38, 9:38, 9:38. Now we're at 9:42. She gave it a few minutes to think. I bet you she was talking to her husband. Her husband was like, get that intel. Ashley says, why was he fired? My main question, and he didn't answer. 5 minutes went by again at 9:47. She says, my main question has always been, how did Sonia feel about Fani taking her man? The plot thickens. We saw that. Terrence and Lead and I did read this in fairness, guys. He goes, not sure how she felt or feels. Her and Nathan are extremely close. It started romantic, but occasionally they would mess around. Cuffy was fired because he slept with a subordinate. He's gay. Hold on. Page 21. Lead and I didn't see this because we were reading it from the attorney who leaked it on this is page 21. The attorney leaked it on Twitter. So they would do screenshots and cut it out. This is the full transcript. I'm going to see if I can blow this up a little bit more and go to this side so we can see exactly what Terrence is saying here. Now we are talking about a male that works in the office that also got fired. Cuffy, he was fired because he slept with a subordinate. He's gay. Nothing wrong with an alternative lifestyle. Listen to what Terrence says here. He had a party at his house and the subordinate came and they ended up sleeping together. Then Cuffy ended up having to reprimand him. The hell? And the guy went and reported it to Fani. Ashley says, damn, with 4 N's. 4 N's. Terrence says Cuffy is extremely close to Fani too. Be careful with him also. Ashley says, wow, I can't believe these folks still like her after she fired him. I think she's going to admit the relationship. And Terrence says, well, it was because of something they did. She had to fire them. Ashley says, makes sense. Totally get that. Terrence says, like, she needs to fire Nathan, but she won't. This is what I mean, guys. If y'all were in Lead and I's chat, this part at 10:03 p.m. feels very familiar. I know I read that. But that whole gay part of the other guy that got fired because he slept with a subordinate, what the hell is happening at this prosecutor's office? I don't remember reading that. And this is all on the 14th. I wanted to go to the end of this document so we can see what the hell is really happening here. Oh, you know, I mean, I'm not even going to go through the 15th because that was a whole church speech. And this is them going back and forth on who got paid what, where they went on the trips. And then this is when he says, you know, who has what money in the divorce? How is he leveraged? Terrence is snitching on all of that. I do remember seeing these red parts. Okay, this is where I wanted to bring you guys to. We stopped in January. Today is March 6th. So almost a month ago, these text messages were still happening on February 2nd. Ashley hits him up. How are you feeling? He says, good. She says, yay. You can always tell a woman don't give a shit about you when she says, yay. That sounds so bad, guys. But I mean, she doesn't. How are you feeling? Good. Yay. Then she goes on to say, Larry said you were, but I wanted to check in. We are close by if you need anything. Dinner or court coverage. Happy to help. Terrence says, thank you. It was tough. Do you know Stacey Evans? He's asking her a question. She says, not really. Should I? I talked to Robin, by the way. She and you may be the only ones who know about the cohabitation in East Point prior to Fani becoming DA. Ladies and gentlemen, these are Ashley's texts. She's going in front of a Senate committee tomorrow. Ashley says it right here. She and you may be the only ones who knew about the cohabitation. What cohabitation? They were living together prior to her becoming a DA? This is the same person. These are the same people that stood on the stand and said, I don't know anything. We didn't live together. No relationship prior to 2021. This is prior to her becoming a DA. They were living together? Ashley, now I got questions. What are we talking about? And then he says, Gabe called me out of the blue. I wonder, Ashley says, wow, I wonder if they were circling the wagons trying to reach out to everyone who knew. Terrence says, not sure. Haven't called him yet. We'll let you know after the call. Ashley says, interesting. I haven't reached out to him and I haven't sent him a subpoena yet. Is he still friends with Fani? Terrence. Oh my God, guys. Terrence, guys. He says, fishing. Said he read an article that listed me as the source. I asked him to send me the article. Ashley responded and said, fishing. Probably read something showing everyone we subpoenaed. I can't imagine he would lie to protect either of them. Terrence here says he is. He's just digging himself a hole. And she says, what do you mean he is? He's going to lie to protect them? Question mark. He would risk his license for them? Question mark, question mark, question mark. That is insane. And Ashley, that is correct. Terrence says, he's going to say he doesn't know. Guys. Ashley says, I guess I will have to ask him very, very direct questions then. I was planning on calling him this week. We sent his subpoena Friday. Think he will lie to me or just avoid it all? And will he say he doesn't know even after they ever dated, or he just doesn't know if they dated prior to her taking office? She sent that at 3:59. Ashley's still thinking. She's still thinking. 20 minutes later, she sent another text and says, should I call Clint Rucker? He has to know. Terrence is still helping her. On February 4th of 2024, ladies and gentlemen, this is a week, like a month ago, 4 weeks ago. Terrence is still helping her. He got on the stand on like the 15th. 11 days later, he said he didn't recall any of this. Are you kidding me? What is this? We're on page 28 out of 31, guys. Ashley says, should I call Clint Rucker? He has to know. Terrence says, no, she fired him on day one. He supported Paul Howard. Ashley says, oh yeah, I still haven't been able to figure out why she turned on Paul Howard. She loved him. I hated him, but she loved him. Something seems redacted. That's a huge gap. We're at 7:04 p.m. Look at this. I'm showing you guys. Look at this huge gap on page 29. Now let's go to page 30. Ashley says the fact that he thinks this is AC communications is laughable. What did we just talked to Nick Ricada here? What does AC communications stand for, guys? Attorney-client privilege. What did Terrence just... What did Terrence just try to claim that all of his communications with Nathan were? Attorney-client privilege. You just had Nick Ricada at the start of the stream beautifully break down what attorney-client privilege was. Let's read these last 2 pages together. Everyone, bow your heads. The shenanigans before tomorrow's hearing. You heard it here first. The truth seeker of shenanigans, AV, is telling you. We're looking at it together. And let me make it big so you can see it. Ashley says literally no attorney-client privilege for, okay, let me go back. She says the fact that he thinks this is attorney-client communications is laughable. He has some nerve calling you to lie for him. Literally no attorney-client privilege for conduct before the divorce. Besides now that he filed a fraudulent affidavit. Oh my God. You may actually have a duty to alert the court to a fraud in the affidavit under crime fraud because he lied under oath to facts you know to be false. I'll look at that and let you know. Oh, this is why Terrence is fried. Oh my God, you see the big green text in the middle of the screen right now? Ashley is telling Terrence, dude, attorney-client privilege, you may actually have a duty to alert the court to the fraud in the affidavit under the crime fraud. Ashley's telling Terrence to come clean. She's telling him right here. She's telling him right here. It's right here. Do you see? Oh, guys. Ashley warned him. Oh, okay. And then Terrence didn't even respond. 7:45. The next day, Terrence, he slept on it the whole day. Terrence slept on it the whole day. The next day at 2:35, he says, call me when you get this. So he was thinking about what she said about attorney-client privilege. He went to bed. He woke up in the morning. He had breakfast. He had lunch. He thought about it. Oh my God. And then she says, sure, let me know when you are free. I'll call you. He says, okay, first of all, if you say, call me when you get this, usually people call you when they get this. And then she goes, let me know when you are free. It's likely that she probably called him. And then he says, okay, right? We're at 5:51 same day. Ashley, and they probably talked, I'm guessing. She says, if Stacey Evans' husband is the one that caught them having sex, can I just subpoena him? He's a lawyer in Atlanta. People can't spell. If Stacey Evans' husband is the one that caught them having sex, can't I just subpoena him? He is a lawyer in Atlanta. Who are you talking about, Ashley? Who did you just find? Ashley, dude, this is why the Senate wants to. We did not see this the other day. This is why the Senate wants to talk to her. Think about it, guys. As we read that, who is she talking about? Who did you catch? This is worth staying up for. Terrence says, I'm not sure which one. I wasn't there. You would have to subpoena them and fish it out of them. But you can't be too direct. The fact that she is asking Terrence for advice on how to do something, and the fact that he is telling her, you can't fish it out of them. You can't be too direct. Ashley responds and says, I won't. And then it gets worse, guys. Ashley says, did you call Nate on February 5th, 2024, 10 days before the hearing? He says no. Ashley says, I wouldn't have either. I think he lied. I think he did call him. I would have been too mad. She knows Nathan is probably livid at Terrence. But it looks like Terrence is also angry. Ladies and gentlemen, it's right here. Look at this text right here, 6:22 p.m. Did you call Nate? No. I wouldn't have either. I would have been too mad. Terrence says I am. Oh my God. I don't have the lead's freaking sound, but I wish I did right now. Terrence is telling you right there he's mad. Terrence is showing you right there he had a reason to go after Nathan the way he did. He's upset that he got severed from that law firm. Everybody's been trying to figure this out. Ashley Merchant got on that stand 2 weeks later and asked him questions, and he acted like this entire text conversation did not happen. And we're looking at it right now, and we're looking at him specifically say he is mad. I can't with this case. Oh my God. Okay. So the last text is a file attachment, and it says, got the list of everyone at the conference. I wonder if Rob Schmatnyer saw anything. That's the last text. And that was on 2/6. It was the next day after Terrence says he is indeed mad. Ashley got a list of everybody that went to that conference. Now we know why the Senate committee wanted to talk to Ashley. What do you guys think? Tomorrow's going to be so crazy. I wish Reed was here. I wish I had that sound. Like, I really do. We are so exhausted, guys, but we've been talking about these leftover texts all weekend, and I'm like, we got to show everybody. We got to show everybody. We got to show everybody. And we just didn't find the right time to do it. I actually was not going to go live tonight, guys. And then Nick was like, hey, I got time. I was like, oh, I'll do it tonight. I did not pre-plan that. I did not expect to see that. Shut up, Michael. Michael says Tara's too fat to be mad. I mean, Tara's big mad. Mia says about what? I mean, guys, like, Ashley did have all the dirt. Bob, this is a huge backfire. I mean, I don't know. We're just going to have to watch it together. I don't understand this. I don't understand this whole case. As somebody that went to law school myself, I looked up, like, I remember looking at these people that come to law school and talk to us like, yeah, you would want to be a district attorney. It's such a prestigious thing. And all of us were like, but how much money do you make? Is it going to pay off these student loans? Is it going to pay off these student loans? Do we want to do this? But we look up to you guys because the cases that we read about in these freaking books, these cases behind me, those books behind me are all filled with cases tried by prosecutors, tried by DAs. Supposed to look up to you guys. We're learning this from you guys. What the hell is happening here? I'm just. Sonali says, shout out to the Pantene. Terrence thought he still had the chance for the Pantene. I mean, I have a few supers. I'm going to read some cash apps. And then I'm going to go to bed. I hope you guys do too. But no, keep this up here before tomorrow's Senate thing. Lead and I are covering it. He has a mediation in the morning. We're trying to find a time to just jump on immediately. Remember this, please. Chicago Girl says, love me some Beantown. I lived in East Arlington and Medford. I will move back someday. Good. Thank you, Chicago Girl. I really appreciate the super chat. And yeah, I lived in Boston for a little bit, and then I moved to Weymouth. I owned a house there. I left it. Really great town. Went down to the Irish Riviera a ton. Spent a lot of time down there. Shout out to Dominique, who says, I'm behind in the video, but he called Fani hideous. That just didn't sit right with my soul. Keep being great, AB. Dominique, I can't take responsibility for Nick. Nick is Nick. But I think I will say this. In Fani's first appearance as a woman, I think she could have tightened things up a little bit. And I didn't like the way she acted. I don't think a lot of people like the way she acted. And the second appearance, she seemed as if someone said, sit down, put on these Spanx. We can get your hair done, your nails done, and don't talk. She did that. Then she wrote a post-it note for the person that represented her. You know what she wrote on it? She said, you're fired. She said, you're fired. She dropped it on his desk. That's all she could do. But I love you, Dominique. Thank you so much. I just had to break that down. Dub says, AV breaking it down. I love it. Keep cooking, Northern sis. Hey, I mean, I'm doing it. It's a Northern sis in the South. I'm down here doing it. Denali, wow, thank you so much. She sends a $10 super. She says, I bet Ashley recorded their phone calls too. Denali, and I know you're going to love this because I know you're hardcore. Ashley didn't give a closing argument. She was the reason we were all there. Her client was the reason we were all there. Her husband gave the first closing argument. Zanali, let me know what you think. Oh my God. Shout out to Ivan, who's back, who says, AV, now connect the dots. He was cut $20K involuntarily taken from him for sex that happened a while ago. He's threatened to be charged, and Fani's street dog. I mean, Ivan, what do you think about what we just read? Lost Chicago Girl is back. She says, maybe Terrence was paid off by Nathan or Fani. I mean, well, let's go back to that Lost Chicago Girl. Because, guys, like, after what we just read, he admitted that he was angry. What excuse does Terrence now have to sit on this stand and say, I don't recall, I don't recall, I don't recall? Honestly, like, now in retrospect, I'm almost on Ashley's side. Like, what do you mean, bro? Like, you texted this to me. And the judges like asked the questions differently, and I saw her get flustered. I think Ashley should have been prepared for that a little bit more. She should have been. And I don't think she knew that Terrence was going to do that, but a lot of people are saying maybe he got threatened. Whew. Bethel Boy Entertainment says, it's unfortunate, but it's looking like all three are not only ruined, but it's giving jail time. Thank you, Bethel. I wish this super chat was given in, like, for us to talk about things under better circumstances, but holy cow. Shout out to Murph's Turf, who says, AV, Stacey Evans equals Andrew, Stacey Evans' husband equals Andrew Evans, who is Wade's attorney. Murph! The man sitting at her state's table, attorney-client privilege, can't speak about catching them in the act. Murph, from time to time, I usually, like, when I'm like perky and I have coffee in the morning, I'm ready for it. But Murph, I mean, these people got caught red-handed. I don't know what you want me to do. Murph! Lost Chicago Girl says paid in cash. Speaking of cash, guys, I'm gonna read a few super chats, and we're gonna cash apps, and we're gonna wind it down for the night. Shout out to JC. Are you back with your dollar? He is back with his dollar. He says, don't be skipping my super chat. I'm the sponsor. No, sir, you are not. Thane Mithra is a sponsor. And BLJ is a sponsor. Don't make me get the little gaming channel in here. Okay? All right. Shout out to Earl. Earl, thank you so much for sending a $25 cash app. No comment, no question. Pure love of the game. Earl, thank you so much. Shout out to Sherry. She sends $10. She says, I'm a new subscriber and you are totally awesome. Thank you so much, guys. And honestly, like, before we go, I usually try not to curse on my channel. It is very important to me. Nick brings it out of me from time to time. I know that it's important to remain professional in these situations. So it's really important for me to do that. But there are times where there's just some shenanigans and I do need to step out of it for a little bit. So I hope, if you are an existing subscriber and if you've seen that in me tonight, just know that I sincerely apologize, but the situation is crazy and I needed the public to see this before we go into the Senate hearing tomorrow. These are very important proceedings. Okay. Ashley Merchant knew that she stumbled upon some pretty egregious behavior that shouldn't be unnoticed. That shouldn't go unnoticed. That is important to our democracy. These are people that are trying to try and prosecute a former president of the United States. This is not a game. You don't just do that. And if you do, let's hope that there's some truth to what you're prosecuting. I think Nick also pointed out some pretty important things about the way that call went. And I'm not taking sides here, but look at these text messages I just showed you guys. Lead and I showed you guys snippets. And although those snippets were important, when you can see the full context of what we missed, the beginning and the end, those are important pieces to leave out of the story, no? So, anywho, I appreciate you guys. I'm tired as hell. We stopped streaming at 2 a.m. Eastern Standard Time yesterday. I got up and went to work. I started doing a website this morning. Like, oh my God, I don't know how my brain works. But I was so happy to get on here and talk to Nick and talk to you guys about these things. I really appreciate the stream sponsors today. BLJ, if you guys could do me a favor and type in BLJ. And I do want to talk about Thane. Thane has been a huge supporter of the lead attorney, but I will also say this. The day that I got monetized, I had like a little monetization celebration. Thane is the #1 supporter of my channel. And like there are times where I took breaks, didn't take this seriously, didn't take being an entrepreneur seriously. Thane and BLJ are those people that like kick me into gear. And all of you guys that have contributed to this stream. $5, $1. Shout out to $1 ninjas. Shout out to all of you guys. The folks that I skipped by accident. This makes it worth it to me. Right? I don't have to be here. Everybody's like, oh, you should just finish. I finished law school. They're like, just get barred as an attorney. And I'm like, if only you knew what I was building back here. If only you knew about the entrepreneurship that's happening back here. And whenever I see Thane's name, it reminds me to stay on my purpose. So if you guys can do me a huge, huge favor and type in Thane in the chat and know that he is the reason why we are here. Both him and BLJ are the stream sponsors of this. And I want to thank everybody. I haven't gone live on my side in a long time because I've been with Lee every time on his side. But I wanted to come over to my side for a little bit and hang out with you guys, do it solo, show you I got some entertainment chops. My editors are working really hard. We've got a few pieces for you guys that are quick on this side too. But again, I want to thank all of you guys that came over tonight. And if you're coming and finding me for the first time from the Nick Rekieta side, he is amazing. I love that man. He's so funny. I hope he feels better. And I'm so thankful that the week that he was sick, he came back here and blessed us with his presence. All right, team. Yes, I've got the juice. I'm running out of it right now. I need to get some more Pantene shampoo and wash my hair or whatever. I love you guys. Stay safe out there. Shout out to Bobby T. I caught it real quick before I ended. I caught you, Bobby. Love you guys. Have a great night. Stay safe out there, and I will see you in the next one. Bye.